The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
You know, this week is a very sad week because had the Rock and Shock convention still be going on without the pandemic going on, it would be happening this weekend. But it's not. Rock and Shock is over, and we got nothing to do on the weekends now. And that kind of sucks. It really hurts right deep down in my heart. But we can take solace knowing that we're going to be joined by a very good friend of ours. That's right. Professor Jay's with us again tonight. Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
The following message is a paid advertisement.
This is Matt Kennedy of Astron.
The Cult of Muscle.
I played the promos first. It's going to be a great show.
Welcome all you little zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 428 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also at the Lair of La Swag within the Raven Chateau, also in Casa de Zero, the Lair of the Gods, and emanating also from the classroom this week. We are joined, as indicated in the intro by MZ, we now are joined by the professor. Class is in session. Professor Jay is here with us today. How's it going, Professor? Hey,
good to see you. It's going great.
Good, man.
I think MZ needs to know that I prefer more nipple when the shirt's open. Especially if you're going to utter my name through your lips, I prefer more nipple. Yeah. Well, see. Okay.
Whoa,
Anyways,
whoa. Are you not wearing a
t-shirt? No nipple.
Is he not wearing a t-shirt?
G-rated show.
Whoa.
Nope.
You're not wearing a t-shirt?
No. Why?
Why would you wear just a fucking sweatshirt?
Is the COVID going to get me if I don't wear a t-shirt underneath my sweatshirt?
No, it's just fucking weird.
I'm comfortable.
Soccer player, Johnny.
I'm comfortable. Isn't comfort important?
You gotta cut a hole in that fucking sweatshirt with those nipples.
Yeah, movement, right? Like, what the fuck are you doing over there? Like, what the fuck? So between the top under, and am I the only one fascinated by Aries' new layout, his new studio? Like, it's some weird
Okay. Oh, no,
you want to talk about it?
Well, let's get it out of the way. I brought in a new storage cabinet, rearranged some things, forgot to put things back together. When I came down here and went, oh shit, and just threw the laptop on the table. I am facing what is normally my backdrop. So this is what I look at when I'm on the show usually. This is my workbench behind me.
Aries, you could have just said that you did what MZ did a couple weeks ago and put a different background behind you.
Make people think I paid for this shit? Like
when he had the greasy strangler picture.
Now he's going to start. Yeah, because now he's going to start asking you to do favors for him.
Is that a new Captain Kirk jersey in the back?
It's not new, but it is.
It's nice. Look at you with your stuff.
Look at me, my stuff. Yeah, Marvelette, all the other shit no one gets to see. There you go. Most of it's tools, though.
So let me quickly jump into what we're doing tonight, and then we'll shoot the shit a little bit with Jay and catch up with him. But on tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the film 12-Hour Shift. And you first heard about it a few weeks ago, or at least you first heard that we were going to do it a few weeks ago when Jay came on to talk about his film festival, the Charlotte Film Festival. So,
yeah.
And that was one of the films that played at it. And so we're going to be doing it because it just came out on VOD. So we'll be talking about that. We're going to shoot the shit with Jay. We'll get some other stuff to talk about. And if we get any voice messages, I don't think we have any right now, but if we do, we will play them. So if you're listening live, you want to send one in, there's still some time. Podcast at trickortreatradio.com. Let us know what you think of the film we're doing this week, any previous films, or just anything that's on your mind, including Dr. Chris says, did anyone get the Friday the 13th box set this week? And I've seen pictures of people getting it, but I did not order it. But MZ, did you order it by chance?
No, I didn't. I don't care how much added stuff is on that disc set. I'm not paying that much money for that. It's, I'm happy with the movies, and I got the books and the DVDs on behind the scenes of Friday the 13th. I don't need to know any more than that. So I'm happy with what I got. No, I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying that much money for that. Fuck that. That's a lot of money. That's
the line he draws with useless shit. Friday the 13th box set. How many Police Academy posters did you buy?
I got like maybe 8 of them.
Well,
it was the line. I don't need to know any more about that.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well,
I don't.
I think that's actually a really good. I think that's really good. It's like, I know everything I need to know about Friday the 13th. What else do I need to know, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, what are you going to get are new interviews with cast members. I mean, and what else are you going to learn from them? I mean.
Well, how long was that documentary, Crystal Lake Memories? It was like 8 hours or something?
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. But that's all you need to know.
Yeah, there is a kind of a with some horror franchises, there is definitely a sort of Star Wars, like they're trying to milk every last nugget of information and new transfers and all that sort of stuff to get another $100 out of people. And but again, it is that thing where it's a different company, so then that's a whole thing too, where it's like, but yeah.
But you can be rest assured that this I mean, in 4 or 5 years we'll probably get another release, so which renders this one obsolete.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If people keep buying them, they're going to keep selling them, right? The same thing with the 40,000 releases of Evil Dead 2. If people are going to keep buying them, and then it creates a secondary market, right, where people sell their used copies, and I don't know. Dr. Chris says it's fucking amazing. It's so badass. I sold the lithograph and poster for $60, so the set only cost me $90. Well, hey, I guess if you can supplement it a little bit that way, go for it.
Yeah, see, I mean, I look at this whole thing as just a collector's item, not so much of the information on it, that it's in and itself is a collector's item.
Yeah.
And the packaging and everything that comes with it. And no, that is very, very true. It's something that does go on a shelf, and it's a display. It's an art display, right? Like here's this package of stuff that has been meticulously crafted to contain the Friday the 13th universe, right?
Yeah.
So,
but if you want to maintain the value of that, or even have it go up, you just don't open the damn thing.
Yeah.
You don't look at it either. You just It's like you have to.
Or point at it. You can't point at it either.
Well, it all depends on how you are with your collectibles.
No, of course.
Some people buy collectibles to actually collect them, not looking at how much is this going to be worth. So someone would open. Most of the crap I have, I've opened because it's mine. I have no intention of selling it. So I don't care if it depletes the value because I opened it. I want to enjoy whatever I own.
I got things here that I don't open, that I have purchased and that I don't open.
Condoms.
Condoms. Please, Raven Shadow. Please, Raven Shadow. Who the hell uses a condom anymore?
Wow.
Hanes t-shirt packages. Certainly doesn't open those.
Yeah. Deodorant, underwear.
I do. I will say too, I'm not a huge collector, but I am very much of the Aries persuasion of collecting, where it's like opening it, having it, playing with it, looking at it, touching it.
Ooh,
doing
hey.
other things with it, which we don't want to get into. And then that's the thing. Then there is something about, even if it's worn a little bit, when you decide to get rid of it, then it has a kind of it's like it's a poster that you've had up, and it might have a crease here or a little thing there, but that's part of the charm of it, right? You know, you get an old 70s poster and it's like, oh, well, you know, I mean, again, so I know all my old Star Wars books are very worn because I read them as a kid a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance.
Oh, here we go. Show and tell.
Here, yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Dr. Chris just said
All right.
Transformers.
Yep. This is a 1984 Transformers of Shrapnel. Or Kickback, rather. I don't know if you could see it from the glare. Unopened, 1984. This could, in the condition that it's in, I could probably sell this for maybe triple than what I paid for it. So
why don't you?
This, huh?
So why don't you?
Because I don't. What are you, nuts? I got a shit ton of things over in this room that I don't open. I got hanging on my wall. I've owned it since for 25 years. I've owned it. And I got it framed on my wall over there. Evil Dead 2 Blood Red Laserdisc, unopened. And I bought two, one to watch, and the second one to keep as a collector's item. And I've done that for 25 years, and it's hanging on my wall right now.
Nice.
With a nail.
Let me see.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Let's move this along.
Getting the grand tour.
I was waiting for somebody else to do that. I didn't.
Oh, please be an asshole.
Do it, Jay.
I need someone else to join me in this quest.
You're part of the show now. You have shirts you haven't unopened yet? Because you put one of those on.
But that's the point. That's the point of it all. Is
We need-
packages.
We need to get MZ a Worcester Red Sox T-shirt with the mascot on it.
Yeah, Smiley.
You do it, and I'll fucking burn it.
That might be worth it.
Then I'll take a shit on it.
Does that
While it's on fire?
While it's burning, you're gonna singe your hair.
No, not while it's burning. Maybe crazy, but I'm not stupid.
Evil Corny says $3 for an Insecticon.
Yeah, right. I wish it was $3.
No, he
Believe
said
me.
it was worth double. It's $6.
Yeah. No, it's
3 times $9.
it's worth quite a bit of money now.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about. First, before we jump into anything, I guess Aries wanted a couple minutes at the top here.
Oh,
Yes. So,
Aries got a box.
Corny.
Yep.
I have a box.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Hopefully it's not a head because it'll be a little bit small.
it's in the box.
It's a shrunken head.
But as I don't think anyone knows, but Corny was holding a little contest called "Who's Your Favorite Podcaster?" and I won it. So he sent me this box.
What?
Anyone buying that?
No, you said Friday, bro.
So yeah, just completely random. Corny sent me a box, so
All right.
we're gonna open this box live on air. Hopefully it's not gonna explode on me here.
It's an unboxing. It's a pumpkin bomb.
Pumpkin bomb. Here we
Just-
go.
Just in
What do
time
we
for
got?
Halloween.
Ooh, here we go.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, we got to turn it around. Corny sent me a nice Joker action figure here.
wow.
That will get opened and put on the shelf.
How appropriate of a time to open it.
I know. That's kind of amazing.
Well, open it up now. Open it up now.
Well, you think I'm lying that I wouldn't open it?
No, I don't think you're lying, but just open it anyway.
Yes, because it's compelling radio to listen to someone open up a package.
What version of the Joker is it? Is it from like a specific time period, specific story, or something?
If it is, I'm not familiar. It's the packaging doesn't give me much to go on. DC Essentials
Okay.
It actually is. The costume is very similar to the Joker I have already, but it's not this. This is an action figure. That Joker I have is a statue. So, although it's similar, I do love it because Joker is one of my favorite characters, and this is a very good rendering of him. See, I am opening him.
Wait, we're talking about Full Metal Jacket here? Is that what you're talking about? That Joker?
Okay, so.
Well, that's pretty awesome, Corny.
Yes, thank you very much, Corny. I absolutely love it.
He said, did he already have that one? And my guess is no.
No, I did not, because I think we were communicating a little bit, and he said that he thought he saw something on the shelf.
Oh,
and there is, like I said, a Joker, but same costume, but that's a statue. This is, action figure.
So we get to your Aries,
right.
open it.
Well, yeah, he's having a lot of trouble, it seems.
Yeah, well, I don't want to break him either.
I like the visual though. There's a lot of like this going on down under the He's opening his package.
Yeah.
I
refer to it.
Corny says, get MZ an autographed picture from the San Diego Chicken.
Not funny.
Yeah, right.
What would be
Not
worse, MZ? What would be worse, a T-shirt of the San Diego Chicken or the Worcester Red Sox mascot?
Worcester Red Sox mascot.
Wow, you hate him more than the San Diego Chicken?
Because he's not only is he representing the city that I live right next to, but he's also representing a team that I loved watching play in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Yeah, but who cares?
That's a double whammy.
They moved closer. If anything, you should be happy.
Have you? Well, you haven't been around it because you live near the president. But
yeah, oh great. I'm in danger.
That's the reason.
Yeah,
that's why you went there.
He lives in that. You live in that tent city across the street from the White House. That's Castle Wolfenstein. No,
it's everywhere. It's fucking nuts.
Were you one of the people who got cleared out in that park? Is that
yes?
Getting political now. Oh boy.
I just and Smiley. I mean, come on. Boston has the worst team mascots. I mean, just the absolute.
Why can't we
worst.
be Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Philly's got the best. Yeah, with Gritty and the Philly Fanatic.
Attic. Yeah.
So what do you like about? It was Smiley. He knocked his phone over. What is it about the Philly Fanatic that you do like, MZ?
Oh, well, first of all, he's got a very original look. Okay, he's just awesome. He's brazen. He's fearless. He's
brazen.
He'll do just about anything. Yes, he's fearless. He'll try to get like. I've seen clips of him where he tries to get girls to lift up their shirts in the middle of ball games.
Yeah, that's assault.
Was that in the 70s though?
No. This is recent. I don't know.
This is Tuesday.
Well within the last 10 years. I mean, he's he'll like go to like the concession guys who walk up and down the aisles, in the stands, and he'll just take like. There's one clip where the Philly Fanatic took a big ass fucking tray of cotton candy, and he just ripped it out of the guy's hands and just started throwing the cotton candy out to all the fans in the stands. It was awesome.
When you're a sports mascot, you just take it.
That's right. You don't even have to ask.
You don't even have to ask.
This guy's a beast. I love this guy.
The White House.
Yeah.
Look.
Oh boy.
If I could interrupt here, this riveting conversation.
Yes. Yes. Get us back.
Because Corny is such an amazing individual. there was something else in the box.
Oh, what's in the box?
Ooh. I got myself a bad motherfucker wallet.
What a nice man.
Oh, man.
That Raven Shadow, that could have been you.
I could never be a bad motherfucker, sir. I'm from Aries.
That's probably the best wallet ever made.
Oh, yeah. And it is a legitimate wallet, too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Is there fresh crisp 20s in there?
I was hoping so. Or at least a picture of Corny, but nothing.
Ooh.
That would be.
I got a whole bunch of fake credit cards in it, though. These plastic holders.
It's a picture of Corny with just his with the Star Wars sweatshirt that we bought for him a couple years ago on, no T-shirt.
That's nice.
Who wears a fucking sweatshirt with no T-shirt on?
So fucking weird, Monster Zero. It's not like you were camping and went to go like do your business in the woods and came back to the tent. Like,
yeah. He went out to the outhouse and he just threw something on real quick. Yeah.
Oh, Raven Shadow.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
He had to go check the mail or something. You know, he was. Just throw this on.
Got a podcast.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Feeling kind of cute.
Yeah. Feeling cute. Might unzip my sweatshirt later.
No, listen. I usually wear a sweatshirt. You know, when it gets to weather like this, I'll wear a sweatshirt underneath. You know, I'll wear a sweatshirt with no T-shirt underneath. Usually it's a pullover. This time it's a zip up. What's the big deal?
Who does that?
No, I do.
I really want to know. Does any of our listeners do that? Really? Like, I think, like Jay said, the only time I would ever do that is if I had to like run down and get the mail or something.
Yeah. Take it
I cannot take full credit for that. That was a Raven Shadow. I just very clear that's what he was implying.
Real quick, in the chat room, Dr. Chris says, shameless plug, 13th anniversary of Radio of Horror is next weekend. Wow, it's quite a milestone. 13 years. Yeah. It's crazy.
13.
Quite shameless, too.
You're quite shameful.
I was about to say, the man, the king of the man with no shame. That's not a bad thing either. I don't say that derogatory. That's a good thing.
I'm proud of it. Proud of it.
Yes, that's a very good thing.
And Raven Shadow, Corny says that package almost got sent to your house, Raven Shadow.
That'd have been awesome. I love the Joker too.
You must have pissed Corny off or something.
Maybe next year.
You can go over to Aries and look at it.
Yeah.
Stare at it.
Yeah.
He'll give you the box.
Aries. Send him nothing but a barrage of pictures of this stuff in different poses. Having poses. Like Joker. Yeah, having like Joker holding on to the wallet. Having Joker opening the wallet.
Hanging out Smiley.
Can the Joker do the crotch chop?
Okay. Now I got to do that.
And Evil Corny says he wears a T-shirt under his sweatshirt. Thank you, Corny. Thank you.
He's a grown-ass man, sir. Of course he does.
All right, so MZ, real quick, give us an update. I know you've been doing quick reviews on the Facebook group for the Monster Zero Trick or Treat Film Challenge. But just give a quick update. How things going?
Oh, they're going good. You know, I've been watching every movie, whether I've seen it or not. Today was Would You Rather, and I've seen that one before. It's a good movie. If you've never seen it, it's really good. Jeffrey Combs is he's just so good in everything he does, and playing the eccentric characters is where he really shines. And I don't know if have any of you seen Would You Rather? Jay, I know you had to have seen Would You Rather. That's a no. Okay.
I have not. I am aware of it, but that is one that has slipped through the cracks. Yes.
It is good. It is really good, and a lot of that goes to Combs. A lot of tension, a lot of interesting ways how things will turn up.
would you rather do this or would you rather do that? And they're both bad. And with like 8 other people, and they gotta, he's like the moderator, and he's telling 8 other people who are desperate for money that he's willing to give them for their problems. Would you be, would you be willing? Would you rather stab this person or electrocute this person, or would you rather have your head dunked in a barrel for 2 minutes, or would you rather have one of your eyes sliced out? It's really it's more interesting than it sounds. It's very compelling.
It's more interesting than it sounds. MZ, would you rather wear a T-shirt under your sweatshirt, or would you rather open up one of your toys?
Rather wear a T-shirt.
Then go put a T-shirt on.
Then go pull it on.
Well, okay.
Oh, goddamn.
No, go and put one on.
Look at you, the Baywatch. Look at you.
Baywatch.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have nipple.
Those little baloney gum, gumdrops sticking out.
PG, folks.
We've achieved nipplage.
We've achieved.
Do you remember? I feel like that movie, Would You Rather, and I think, again, it's I don't remember who put it out. It came out around the same time as that other movie, right? Cheap Thrills. Is that what the other one is called?
Yeah, 2012, I think.
And
that's it's not as, I think Would You Rather is more of a straight horror film, and Cheap Thrills is like a dark comedy kind of thing, right? But it's the same principle. It's like ratcheting up, escalating the kind of the scenarios for more and more money, right?
Yeah.
And it's definitely one I've heard about, and I didn't know Jeffrey Combs was in it. I know there's a female actor in it who's the main female? She's blonde.
Oh, Brittany Snow.
Yeah, she was like just kind of getting big at that time, right? She was getting bigger. She was kind of,
And Sasha Grey is in it. And John Hurd.
Who's that?
Who's that? Who's Sasha Grey?
Sasha Grey's a porn star. At the time, she's retired now, but she was pretty popular back in the day. And I'll let if you watch it, I'll let you guys decide which one is Sasha Grey, and John Hurd is also in it as well.
John Hurd or John Hurt?
Hurd.
Okay. Right.
Hurd. Not John Hurt.
Yeah.
He's too good for something like this, I think.
Oh, Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs is great.
That's true. Jeffrey Combs is the man.
He's not. I think that's a mark of. I mean, that guy's great in the shittiest movies ever made. Sometimes it's like that guy. He's a great actor. So
yeah, he's got a badass mustache too.
Mm.
So yeah.
So in general, though, MZ, you keep. So I know there was a little bit of it seemed to be an issue with Dogtooth, because you for some reason weren't seeing the subs, so you called an audible and watched another film. So if people, what we'll do is if you watch, we'll give people if they didn't watch Dogtooth. Did you even announce what the other one was that you watched? I think you mentioned it in Discord, right?
Halloween at Aunt Ethel's, yeah.
Okay, so if you watched either one of those, you'll get credit, just because MZ kind of changed midstream. But if you still watch Dogtooth, you will get credit for that one. So, but otherwise, MZ, it looks like some people are playing along at home, which is pretty cool. I know Marianne has been watching as if not all of them, most of them, and I know EF Contentment also has been logging a bunch of them, and some other folks as well. I don't want to leave people out. I know some other folks have been checking them out as well. So it's pretty awesome to see people playing along at home.
Yeah, and tomorrow is Friend Request, and that's on Netflix.
All right, there you go, everyone. So if you guys are playing along at home, I know some people have gone ahead and say there a lot of times people are giving their reviews on the Discord chat. That's That's awesome. If you guys want, you can send in a voice message and give like a quick run through the ones you've seen, quick trick or treat, and a quick sentence about each one. That would be awesome as well. So if you guys are playing along with the MZ, the Monster Zero Halloween film challenge, whatever the hell we're calling it, you can feel free to do that. We'd love to hear from you guys. I actually trying to think. We got some. I can't read them all, but we got some great reviews from the Discord. Especially EF has been writing like pretty like extensive reviews about each one. So it's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, he's been writing like some Pauline Kael type shit. You know, I mean, like pages and pages. You know.
What is your favorite film so far, MZ, of the 8 days?
I don't know. Probably V. It might be V or Vi or however it's pronounced.
Oh yeah, the Russian film.
Yeah. That is so good. That is so good. Halloween at Aunt Ethel's, man. I just wanted to blow my brains out.
You should have stuck with Dogtooth without subtitles.
And although I will say, check out Creep 2.
All right.
Check out Creep 2. It's a worthy follow up because you get to see Peach Fuzz again.
Peach Fuzz is definitely.
Peach Fuzz.
Oh yeah, Peach Fuzz is the best part.
Sasha Grey.
Oh Jesus! All right, so if you guys want to, if you haven't started playing along at home, you can go ahead and do that. There's still time for every film you watch in the MZ Halloween Film Challenge. You get a point, which serves as an entry into a contest. So. We'll have some more information about prizes and whatnot at the end, as we get towards the end of the contest. But all you got to do is just watch the movies that MZ watches for the 31 days of Halloween. And if you're a Patreon supporter, you get double points. So there you go. If
you watch all the films,
yes,
at the end of the month, you get 5 extra points.
Yep, you finish them all, you get an extra 5 points. So. There's a possible of getting 72 points if you are a Patreon supporter. So if you are a Patreon supporter, or if you're not, you have until the end of the month. All you got to do is sign up for Patreon to get those double points. So if you're playing along and you want to up your chances of winning, there's that's the best way to do it. And we're throwing around some cool stuff for prizes. So no matter what, I think there's going to be a prize that someone's going to enjoy. So hop on that. And now, before we wrap things up, I want to leave more time, but we had a lot going on. But Jay, I want to talk about the Charlotte Film Festival that just happened a couple weeks ago. I know MZ was able to check out a bunch. He was able to see a feature and a bunch of shorts and all that. So he was excited about it. How did things go since this being the first time you guys did it virtually?
Oh boy, this is like do you have 6 hours? I don't want to sound in the weeds.
Sure.
No, it was really interesting. It was really good. I mean, I've been participating in a lot of, I think we talked about this a little bit when I was on a couple weeks ago. I've been participating in quite a few, so I'd be interested to hear what MZ says. I've been participating in quite a few virtual festivals. I'm getting ready to participate in Night Stream the next couple days, which is a virtual festival of genre films. And I'm not, I will be honest, as a festival programmer, as a person who loves films, I'm not a huge fan of them, because as a festival programmer, I like actually going to festivals and being in the room with filmmakers and sort of, especially the types of movies that we show at the Charlotte Film Festival, like, kind of getting the audience reaction in real time and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we all know that's an exciting part of movie watching, right? So again, MZ's talking about Would You Rather. Imagine watching that movie in a crowd with people as opposed to just sitting at home watching it, right? It's obviously going to have a much greater effect, and people are going to be laughing, people are going to be grossed out, whatever. But the festival went really well. I mean, we were able to show a lot of films, and we had, good participation. People were watching things, social media. There was a few, reviews of some films that came out. People watched some stuff and reviewed it. So, I mean, for a virtual festival that we really had no idea how we were going to pull off at all, I thought it went well enough where we were able to showcase these movies and at least put them out into the universe so people could watch them, whether they were shorts or whether they were features, especially the lesser known stuff, the shorts that people might not watch. There was a really wonderful short block of documentaries that I loved quite a bit, that had like Kinder Chomper and My Darling Pet Monkey, a couple of sort of bizarre, so again, that's what I like and again, being able to then talk about those movies with people right after, 50 or 60 people have seen them in a movie theater is what I really like. And we weren't really prepared to do that like some of the bigger festivals where, they have the Discord servers and they have the gather things. I know Fantastic Fest did they had all of these interesting elements where people could interact with each other through live streams and we're just not equipped with that because of money, because of staffing. So, I'm sort of torn on the virtual festival because it was great. But I do prefer the live in-person experience. So I would be interested to hear what MZ thought of some of the stuff he watched, or, good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah. Well, well, you mentioned Kinder Chomper, and I love that. That was so good. So fine.
So elated.
So crazy too. It's just, we all know that professional wrestlers have their personal lives and everything like that. But when you take the idea of some maniac who dresses up in skull makeup, travels to Japan, and then hunts down little children so he can eat them in the middle of the ring. And you see this guy, he's a family man. He works at a hospital. The two ends of the spectrum, when they clash, it really makes it pretty interesting. I really did like Kinder Chomper. I thought that was so good. My Darling Pet Monkey. Oh God. You know what? It's a good story to tell if you're with a bunch of friends, but it doesn't make for a good movie. And I thought the cut and paste appearance of the film was just overly annoying. It just pissed me off to no end.
Pissed him right off.
Oh,
don't piss me off.
I hated it. I hated that movie. Quarantine rather, I thought was really good. I think that was the best one of the bunch that I saw. And I loved the it was done by like 16 or 18 different directors in this one section where they had Dr. Frankenstein talking like the Macho Man Randy Savage. It was so random but so awesome at the same time.
Bride of Frankenstein, will you marry me? Dig it.
Yeah. Priest Hunter, of course, was great. Has a message. Good short.
That was a documentary? No,
that wasn't a documentary.
I know. Of course I know.
Sooner or later, that will be a documentary. You watch, and Skip will be doing it.
Yeah.
Skip will be helming that.
MZ, what did you think? Because you did talk about the films last week, so we don't need to rehash. But what did you think of the experience? Obviously, you've been to festivals. You and I have been to. We've been to Buff. Like, what did you think of the experience of watching it virtually?
Well, you do miss out on the
crowd experience. You know, you miss having people, you know, on both sides of you, you know, gazing upon some new feature or a new short that no one else, you know, that no one's seen yet.
Yeah.
And you see it with someone, you know, with your own eyes for the very first time, and you can't, you know, because of everything going on, you do miss that. But at the same time, there's something rather special about seeing it on your computer or on your tablet or phone, despite what Werner Herzog says, or not Werner Herzog, David Lynch. There's something rather intimate about it and unique about it, and something that's really appreciative about it. You know, it feels like you're, you know, because I mean, you're seeing these movies for the first time, and while I do enjoy that, seeing something like that with a crowd, at the same time, when you go to a theater and watch a movie, and you're all alone and you're all by yourself, there's something really special about that too. You know, you get to have the theater all to yourself, and that's exactly what this experience was like here as well. You have the theater all to yourself. You have no one bothering you.
You're lonely.
And it, yeah, well, whatever. You got nobody to watch movies with, and if you do, you fall asleep.
He's got Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. True. Okay, so you got your dog. and so there is that other side of the coin where seeing this in an intimate setting by yourself, you know, there's something special about that too. Now I'm not going to say that it equals seeing it live with a bunch of people, directors, actors, you know, they're all there, you know, nothing could top that. But this really isn't, the way this was set up really is not as bad as some people might think it is. It's a decent alternative. And I enjoyed watching these movies the way I did.
And the thing I would add to that too, I think, which is interesting for me is, because I have gotten some feedback from people, from filmmakers who were in the festival, and I think that's the biggest thing for filmmakers that they missed at our festival, where it's, we didn't get to interact with the other filmmakers, and we didn't get to interact with the fans of the film. So, you know, Mike Schultz, who directed Kinderchomper, you know, would have loved to talk to you after you watch that short, right? Because it's like when people enjoy his movie. And by the way, Kinderchomper was the audience award-winning doc short film too. By the way, so that will be having sort of an additional screening for pass holders in a week or so. So if you have a pass, you'll get an email saying where you can watch that. You know, so when talking to filmmakers and talking to people, you know, I think one of the things that helped, which relates to, I think, what you're talking about, MZ, is that people were able to maybe take a chance on something that they might not have watched necessarily if they were like seeing it in the theater, and like, yeah, they're like, I'm not really sure. And so because they knew, like, well, if I go into the theater at a festival, I don't want to walk out. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to disrupt people. But I think at their house, they were like, you know, I'll take a chance on this movie, this short block. You know, if I'm not really into I'm not into Darling Pet Monkey, well, I'll just skip to the next one, right? You know, I can sort of. So I think there was an element of that worked really well. And again, the biggest thing for me that I take away is, you know, we were able to open up the festival to the whole United States, which obviously it's not accessible. It's, you know, and we're a small festival, so especially because we don't have like the big premieres where people would go, oh yeah, I'll drive 500 miles to go watch a movie. You know, we were able to open it up to people all over the country. And we had, you know, I think I did the little map graph. We had like all but 8 states where people watched movies from our festival, which was kind of like shocking to me. You know, when you're seeing like, two people in South Dakota watched a movie at our festival. What? You know, like, you know, because I sort of expected the East Coast would be well represented, but I was like, a lot of these Arkansas and, I was like, what? Somebody in Mississippi watched actually, I think Mississippi was one of the ones we didn't have, but so I think that was really interesting. And then again, I think ultimately, because we've talked about this a lot every time I'm on, that ability then allows people to find films and filmmakers, right? Because again, if MZ really liked Kinderchomper and he's talking about Kinderchomper now, well, maybe people listening to this podcast are like, well, what is this? What is Kinderchomper? Who is Mike Schultz? And they'll go back and look, and like there are lots of Mike Schultz. He had a feature in the festival as well called RIP List, or RIP List, depending on how they pronounce it. But he makes these quirky documentaries. That was a short, but he's made other long form, hour and a half, sort of quirky document about quirky people. He's from Minnesota, and or he's from I think he's from Minnesota. And that's the thing that I like, is that maybe somebody either saw Kinderchomper and is talking about it, and now maybe somebody in South Dakota is like, who's Mike Schultz? What else has he done? You go on Internet Movie Database, you go on his website. Oh, look, there's 2 documentaries you can watch, for free on his website. So I that to me is what I found interesting, because if you have access to these, the more access you have to the movies of some of these filmmakers, I think the more these filmmakers get recognition, and they obviously get, seen. And so I think that ultimately is the thing for me. But again, I miss I miss the in-person experience very, very much. And it's sort of a lot of work, and then you're just like you're still in your house by yourself, right? You do all this work, and that's always been my pay in some weird way. I don't get paid to program the festival or work the festival, but my pay has always been, now I get to be in the room because we've sort of cultivated this whole thing, and now we get to kind of revel in it and experience it, and so it went well, I think. And I appreciate, everyone watching stuff who did. So that's
now, because of the pandemic going on, and because of that this film festival had to take hold of the way it was released. Now, in the future, do you see the release of this film festival to be live and streaming as well?
I mean, that's a great question. My hunch is that all festivals will have some kind of virtual element going forward. I think that it's the same with where people talking about, like, Disney releasing their films for premium video on demand, right? So now, like, bigger titles are going to become in the theater, but you might be able to watch them on Disney Plus the same day for $20 or something like that. I think virtual festivals they're not going to go away. The companies have spent too much money on building the platforms to house all the movies and the technology, and so you'll have in person, but you'll have hybrid festivals where you'll be like, if you want to come see, and they'll be, which is happening at a lot of festivals like Fantastic Fest. They just had their virtual festival last week, 2 weeks ago. But they had stuff you could watch online, and then there were a couple of movies you could only see at a drive-in, right? You couldn't watch them online. You couldn't get a virtual pass to watch them. And I think that's what you'll see like bigger titles. Now you got to buy a ticket and go into the theater and watch it. Maybe the smaller stuff, this New Zealand horror film, you can watch that online, right? Like, we're not as worried about piracy or something. So I think that will be the thing going forward. And I think we'll have to do that, which will be good, because I think then we'll be able to say some things we'll be able to show in person, because there are movies we couldn't get this year that we wanted to screen, including like Possessor, the new Brandon Cronenberg film. We couldn't, because they didn't want to do virtual festivals. They so even Fantastic Fest, had to have a live screening of that last week before it was released on VOD.
Yeah.
You know, even Alamo Drafthouse couldn't just put it on their on-demand service because the company was, you know, they're afraid of piracy, right? For a film like that. So I think that'll be the norm, is like, you know, maybe next year it would be if 12-hour shift was, you know, next year it would be the kind of thing where they might say, oh, no, you can only show that in person. And then, but Kinderchomper, yeah, sure, you can show that online because it's a small doc short, and it's not like we're going to lose millions of dollars if people pirate it, right? So, yeah. And again, I think that's just the nature of where festivals will go from here on out. It'll be interesting to see, though, because it is different and it is a lot of extra work in some ways. So, but yeah.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, I just got a real quick question I want to follow up on, MZ, with regard to piracy. When you guys screen, obviously I know when we get screeners, there typically is some sort of watermark, whether it be our email address or something over it, just so that we are not inclined to leak it and have it out there. And then if it happens, then they know where to go to, you know, like, you guys fucking leak this, we're going to hit you hard with this. So is there anything for when you guys do these festivals? Obviously, I'm sure, like you said, like a film like Kinderchomper or whatever, maybe not, because it's a short and there's not as much money tied up in something like that. But, you know, like the film that you mentioned, the Brandon Cronenberg's film Possessor, something like that, there's going to be a lot of interest in that. So, you know, obviously I understand not wanting to even screen it, but when you screen features, is there any sort of watermark or anything that would impair people's viewing experience?
I mean, well, no. I mean, if you watch something like, if you watch 12-hour Shift at the Charlotte Film Festival, there's no watermark on it.
Yeah.
And so there's where, you know, people who are very crafty computer people know how to find ways to backdoor into where the digital file is stored. Some, you know, they're able to go into coding, and there are many different layers. And again, you know, most movie, you know, when you watch, if I don't know, I'm trying to think of a movie that just came out. 12-hour Shift is out right now on VOD. If you go online and purchase that and watch it on your computer, the file's sitting on some server somewhere with no watermark, with no nothing. Really, really crafty computer people know how to get into that server and download that file. Now they can encrypt it, they can put passwords on it, they can do all the techie stuff that they do. But I think that's always been, in general, it's always been the fear of studios when they went to a digital format, right? Is like, we're handing a digital, you know, even in the theaters, we're handing a digital file to somebody that they're going to put on a computer. And we all know how easy it is to copy a digital file. And once you copy that digital file, whatever you do with it, however you manipulate it. So there are ways to do it. And that's why, you know, you could watch Nomadland from last week, you know, a big independent film that's going to come out and probably win some Oscars next year. You could have watched that as part of TIFF online with no watermark, but, you know, I'm sure there's nefarious people trying to get it, right? And trying to get it out on a torrent site. And it's probably out there in the deep, dark web somewhere. There's probably a copy you could find that either has a watermark or doesn't. So I think for the bigger films, it's honestly, even though it sounds weird, it's probably less of a concern because of there's so much money for those bigger films. Whereas I think the smaller films, like, it is that sort of like really narrow margin of, if you make an independent film like a 12-hour Shift and Brea Grant sells that film to Magnolia to distribute it, and now a bunch of people watch it on a torrent site, and it doesn't get the $6 or $8 rentals over and over and over again, that's when somebody, a producer or distributor, goes, maybe the next movie, does she really have a following? Does she, you know? And I think that's what those smaller films are worried about. And that's usually what I've found, because we deal with mostly smaller movies, is, you know, those middle of the road ones where they're like, if we lose enough money because it gets pirated or because it somehow gets out there and leaked, or too many people see it. That's why, like, if you noticed in our festival, we had to geo-block it to the United States. We couldn't just open it to the world because they don't want a bunch of people in Europe watching it, and then it has no market in Europe because all the people in Europe have seen that movie, or wherever in Canada, right? Fantasia Festival, which is a Montreal festival, a big genre festival, which I'm sure you all know about. Their festival was virtual this year, and everything was geo-blocked to Canada. So there was, in the U.S., you couldn't just get a pass to Fantasia and watch, all the great films they had. You had to wait till a U.S. festival has it. And there were some films in our festival that you couldn't watch other than in North Carolina, right? I mean, there were like a few that they said, no, we don't want people in California to watch this movie because we're afraid when it goes to a festival there, it'll have no market. So this is all really probably boring for people.
I think it's really interesting. And, because you're right. Like a lot of times there is sort of like, kind of referencing like an old school professional wrestling thing, but the territories, like you'd have like a guy would go from one territory, he'd be a face, he'd go to another territory, be a heel, and they'd make money in every single territory. So it's kind of the same deal where, yes, it's going to play in North Carolina and it's going to make its money there. And then they're going to, maybe bring it up to New York and make its money there. Or maybe not necessarily money, but show an audience, so it's a special sort of engagement. So I totally...
And smaller films have to do that, right? Smaller films have to kind of like find their pocket audiences, especially at festivals, to kind of get a group of audiences that are all talking about the movie. So then when it is released, it's like becomes this thing. And, to bring up the wrestling thing, I mean, that's the analogy that everybody makes, right? Is that Vince McMahon, when he decided to do his whole WWF thing, his father was pissed because his father was like, that's not how we operate. We have our thing up in the Northeast. There's the mid-Atlantic, and then there's the Southeast, and then and what he did is he basically said, screw all those people. If we put Andre the Giant on TV across the country, then who gives a shit about Mid-Atlantic or whatever he's going to wrestle, because he's with us now, right? And so, and that killed all of those small wrestling. I mean, it didn't kill them entirely, but it really, it knocked them way, 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 way down. So, And I don't know the answer of what's better, I mean, if it's just everything's available to everyone at once, or whether you need that smaller, those smaller markets. I think you need those smaller markets. I think you need those smaller festivals. I think you need those smaller groups of people to be the champions of those smaller films. Because if you just throw everything out there to a mass audience, it'll get lost. I mean, who's even talking about Possessor? It's one of the greatest movies of the year, and it's like it's like it doesn't have theaters to play in, and it's not getting I don't think it's on VOD yet.
No, I've been keeping tabs on it, and it's Wellgo USA tends to, from what I've seen, tends to hold back VOD. They like to get it in theaters. Yeah. So
I thought that was Neon. Is that Wellgo? I thought it was Neon.
Pretty sure it's Wellgo, unless I'm mistaken.
No, that's the Endless is Wellgo. That's their big. Not the Endless. Synchronic.
Synchronic. Yeah.
That's their big one coming out. Which is, I shouldn't say anything. I don't want to give spoiler reviews.
It's Wellgo USA buys. I found an article that they picked up Possessor, so
that's interesting. Well, look at the trailer. The opening logo says Neon. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. But so that's one I'm looking forward to. But yeah, it's this weird sort of limbo. Although I did see one film that I'm really excited about is Psycho Goreman. Just got announced. Yeah. It's got its release in January. I think January 22nd on VOD. That's been playing some festivals, so really excited about that one. We'll definitely be doing that one on the show in January. So,
and they've been doing all virtual. I mean, they've been doing all in person. They've been doing. I have my rejection letter from them somewhere in the pile. I tried.
Well, and that's too bad. I mean, obviously, I get it. They can't play it at every festival, but
Yeah.
That's too bad. But yeah.
Again, I mean.
So I want to wrap up the segment, head to the film discussion. But before we do, we got a Raven J. It's been a little bit, but we got a Raven J drawing. So let me go ahead and let me push that live. It's MZ.
Oh dear God!
Welcome back, Raven J.
Wearing his sweatshirt with it open.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's
amazing and terrifying.
That's your new tattoo, Raven Shadow?
The next one, yeah.
You gonna get that on your chest?
No, I'm on my back. It's
yeah.
But
That's a classic. That's a good one, Raven J.
What's with my pecs? What's going on with that?
You have no
those aren't pecs.
Yeah, those are
tits. Those are tits.
I love the detail to your demonic fingers.
Yeah, I love that you tried to pass him off as pecs.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he actually gave him chest hair.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's the same exact thing I was thinking. I'm looking
or is that crumbs? I don't know.
It's drool.
I think what it is. You know what it is? It's I think I'm more pale than the paper that he drew that on.
That is possible.
Because you have hair like Dick Grayson in like 1945. You are so goddamn it. You are so smooth.
The chest hair was.
I got hair.
Yeah, no, it's just the fuzz from the sweatshirt. That's like inside of the sweatshirt.
We'll take care
No,
of it.
I got hair. I got hair.
Hair. All right. Well,
That's the title of the episode. I've got hair.
You got hair.
Oh man! All right, so we're gonna wrap this up because I want to head to a break so we can talk about 12-hour shift. But if you guys want to help support us, we do have a lot of stuff going on Patreon. I'm not going to run down everything right now, but we got the Monster Zero Halloween film challenge going on currently, and there's an element of Discord on there. Not an element of Discord. There's an element of that on our Discord server. And anyone can join Discord whether you're a Patreon or not. So you have access. Your access is limited if you're not a Patreon supporter, but you can still chat with us, and you can also take part in the Monster Zero Halloween Film Challenge on over there. So just look in the show notes. There's a link to the Discord server, and you can join. If you don't have a username set up, it takes like literally less than like a minute, 30 seconds to do it. So super easy and super fun. And then that's the gateway, Raven Shadow. It's the gateway to the Blackout tapes whenever those happen again. It's the gateway to the Monsterpiece Theater Movie Club and everything else that's going on.
Oh, it's like a portal to perversion. Did we do that one last week?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it's like, really?
It's just like that. It's like the door to debauchery, the fucking window to
whatever.
Wowzers.
The window to whatever.
The window to wowzers.
Hey, what happened?
What happened? What's going on there?
By the way, Jay, I have to thank you. I think you initially introduced me. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Spinal Tap and Christopher Guest, but I think you introduced me to his mockumentaries when we watched Waiting for Guffman long time ago. So I have you to thank for getting me into Christopher Guest's mockumentaries beyond Spinal Tap, of course. And so I recently watched A Mighty Wind with T-Dog.
Nice.
It was her first time, and I hadn't seen it in years. And yeah, it was. We lost it during the "What happened" scene. So good. So actually, I realized I haven't seen all of his films. I don't think I've seen For Your Consideration. So
that was good.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
The Oscar one.
Yeah,
that was the Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, Best in Show is the fucking dopest, right?
Best in Show is probably his best.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Yeah.
Macadamia
So,
yeah, I think. I don't know.
Best in Show is amazing.
It's amazing. I don't, you know.
Oh,
Waiting for
God.
Guffman is. I think I
Fred-
still have. I'm partial to that just because that was the first one that I saw. But
You mean Almost Heroes isn't your favorite Christopher Guest movie?
I don't think I've seen that.
The Matthew Perry, Chris Farley movie? That's not your favorite Christopher Guest film?
No.
That's a deep dive, sir. Wowzer.
Should be.
Yeah. That's the thing that's so interesting about Christopher Guest as a director too, is like, you know, because he made Spinal Tap and he was an actor and he did all that stuff, and then he made that, I can't remember the name of it, he made a romantic comedy with Kevin Bacon.
He was also the Six-Fingered Man.
Yeah.
What's that?
He was also the Six-Fingered Man in Princess
Yeah, right.
Bride.
Yeah. So he was an actor and he was doing all that stuff and did Spinal Tap and then he, again, whatever that movie was called with Kevin Bacon. It's a romantic. He did it before Waiting for Guffman. It's like he made a romantic comedy as a director, and then that movie was out. Kevin Bacon and somebody in a romantic comedy, and then he made Waiting for Guffman, and then most of the movies he made afterwards were obviously those mockumentary or those sort of fake documentary movies. But yeah, there's that random. It's my second level joke movie underneath Jack the Bear is Almost Heroes with Matthew Perry and Chris Farley. It's like the forget it. What's the Michael Moore? Everyone knows Michael Moore directed all those.
Yeah.
You know, Roger and Me and Fahrenheit 9/11 and all. But he also directed Canadian Bacon with John Candy. You know,
John Candy is
like a one random stupid Hollywood comedy by Michael Moore, like for no reason. And I guess, it's the paycheck, right? You get Almost Heroes probably funded 8 movies for Christopher Guest after that. So, yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of which.
So that's my favorite Christopher Guest movie is Almost Heroes.
Did MZ, have you ever seen Mascots?
Oh, no.
It was a Netflix original. Looks like it's about sports mascots directed by Christopher Guest.
Yep.
Oh, shit. Well.
Yep. I don't remember it being very good.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
I definitely watched it, but I don't remember it being very good. And I do actually believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, that he reprises his role as Corky from Waiting for Guffman in that movie.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he comes back to train because it's like mascots having like a talent show for mascots or something where they who's the best mascot or something, and there's one mascot who has to get retrained and he goes to the legendary Corky St. Clair.
Oh, you're right, yeah
Oh yeah, I don't remember it being very good though or memorable because I don't remember anything else about it other than that.
It's got the whole cast pretty much. I see Jennifer Coolidge, Bob Balaban, Fred Willard, Don Lake,
nice.
Parker Posey, Ed Begley Jr., and Michael Hitchcock. So it's got the whole cast from a lot of his other films. Right. So
that triumvirate of Guffman, Best in Show, Mighty Wind is just. That's a great triumvirate of those types of movies. Yeah. After that, they all kind of fall off a little bit in quality. Maybe Mighty Wind falls off a little bit from Best in Show and Guffman, but yeah. He's married to Jamie Lee Curtis, so he's got that going for him.
That's true.
We forget that all the time, that guy's married to Jamie Lee Curtis. It's like Kevin Kline's married to Phoebe Cates. You're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Your brain can't process it. I'm telling you, when you start to think about it.
It's because it goes to 11.
My brain still can't process. My brain still can't process Kevin Kline.
You can just you could stop there. You can't process.
Yeah, it just doesn't register right with me, man.
Two words: big cock.
It goes to 11.
That's right. It goes to 11. Cut.
All right, so That was a really interesting derailment, but we were talking about Christopher Guest because we're talking about, hey, what happened? So, but anyways, yes. So you guys can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/trickortreatradio. And we just put up, so we had the MZ movie challenge, and we just put up the video of that. So if you guys are in the Slayer or above tiers, you got access to that video. So go ahead and give it a look. For as little as $2 a month, you can take part in a lot of different stuff. We got the monthly audio specials that we do, exclusive only to Patreon listeners. And we also have the blackout tapes. We're going to plan another one. And we're also talking about the next Monsterpiece Theater Movie Club, which I believe we're going to do in November. We're working that out. And Jay, since maybe a new concept to Jay, what we do, Jay, is we basically pick a film. And we're going to let all of our listeners and Patreon supporters help decide what film we do with a vote. And then we're having basically like a book club. Everyone gets together. We do it on Discord, and we just talk about it. And then we do turn it into an episode and record it and release it for Patreon. But it's just like a big conversation where everyone gets to join in with us. So it's not just a regular show. It's everyone gets to join in, and it's a lot of fun. We did Host from that was on Shudder. We did that last time, and that was a lot of fun. So looking forward to doing that again, and we'll be giving you guys some more info about that soon. But you can head on over to patreon.com/trickortreatradio to find out more. And also, if you guys want to, you can go ahead and head to Amazon, or actually go to trickortreatradio.com and use our Amazon link is what I meant to say. I panicked because Raven Shadow wasn't there, and he's the one that does this. So MZ, you're going to have to do this if you remember. But if you guys want to help support us, you can use our Amazon link. Go to trickortreatradio.com, scroll down, look for the logo, click it. It is going to bring you to Amazon. It's going to input our affiliate link. It doesn't cost them any extra, Monster Zero.
But it is another way to help keep the lights on.
Wow, you do that better. We might have you do that every week now. Mix it up a little bit.
Don't take that away from him. He'll cry.
Yeah.
And the other way you can support is to go to trickortreatradio.com, click on store, and there you can go ahead and buy the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio. We get a few volumes up there, and it's good for those folks who have not listened to the entire duration of 8 years of episodes. And you can go check that out. We got some highlights, some lowlights, some midlights, and everything else in between. Raven Chow, you missed your spot, so you're fired. MZ took over. He did a really good job.
A, unlikely. B, no, I had Discord come out of my left ear. I had a mighty wind come out of wherever the fuck. My teeth are floating. I had to take a fucking piss. You know what I mean? Like,
teeth are floating.
Raven Shadow had a mighty wind himself.
No, that's not how Pete works, but sure. But no, I'm saying that I had to, go to the bathroom. Sorry. Edit this out.
Yeah, you missed it. All right, so Raven Shadow, you are back for this, so I'm not going to have MZ do this. So you sit down to watch 12-hour shift. What do you do to prepare for this flick?
Well, I get fucking depressed, Johnny, because there's no fucking conventions. There's no, in the world. There's no live action film festivals to go to. You know what I mean? I get sad. About that. But then I think about the future and I get sadder. That doesn't help. But I get aroused that Professor J is going to be on this week. You know what I mean? Because he's fucking smart and knows things. So when I get ready to watch the picture, I'm like, ring the bell because school's in, sucker. And then I got to fucking strap on.
Ding, ding.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glories a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the cult of muscle.
This is Matt Kennedy of Astron 6. You might know me as Manborg. You might know me as Father John Sullivan in Father's Day. But what's important right now is that you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
I can tell you I'm never coming back on this show. Especially now that I did that thing that you just made me do. Which I will be sending you an invoice for.
Return to Trick or Treat Radio. Not everyone has returned, but someone new has returned. I can't wait to see Raven Chap's face.
Oh, you want to put it back?
Yeah. Well, it might take about 5 minutes, Jay, so.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, we're back, and we're going to talk about a movie. We're going to start without Raven Shadow. We're going to be talking about 12-Hour Shift. This film is 86 minutes long. It is a comedy horror thriller. It is written and directed by Bria Grant. And the film stars Angela Bettis, David Arquette, Chloe Farnworth, Mick Foley, Kit Williamson, Tara Perry, Brooke Sagan, Dusty Warren, Thomas Hobson, and Julianne Dowler. The synopsis: bodies start to pile up when a drug user nurse and her cousin try to find a replacement kidney for an organ trafficker. So this is not.
Music. Can you hear this music? Am I the only one hearing this?
No, I just faded it out.
Okay, all right. I was grooving to it.
Oh, Raven Shadow's back, Jay.
I'll take care of it later.
Okay.
Be a little surprise later.
All right. So
we're into the serious shit now, okay?
Yeah, the real serious shit, Raven Shadow. You hear that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but to get raw dogging.
Well, we've gone off the rails already.
Go smoke another cigarette, would you?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to commercial.
Yeah, Mr.
Mr. Raw Dog.
Mr. Raw Dog. All right, so this flick is written and directed by Brie Grant, and this is her second feature, and it's her first since 2013's Best Friends Forever. She's also directed some shorts and some TV, although she is best known for her acting roles. At least I think most people would recognize her from her acting roles. As far as films that we've done, she was in a film that we did recently. She was the girlfriend Abby in the film After Midnight. You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Raven Shadow, you got a blank stare. You remember After Midnight?
No,
that's his normal look.
That's the one about the girlfriend who disappeared and then the monster showed up.
Wow, I feel like I'm in the Zoom call I was in earlier. And they were like, "And Raven Shadow, what do you think about automating that?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" Yeah.
No clue, huh? Wow.
No.
It had Jeremy Gardner in it.
Treat.
Jesus Christ.
Here's in the fucking
battery. Well, she was also, you might remember this one. She was in Beyond the Gates.
Yes.
Okay, you remember that one? Or our boy Steven Scarlatta had worked on. She had a short stint in Dexter, and she also, Raven Shadow, this one you're going to remember. She played Daphne in Heroes, the blonde.
Oh, really?
With the kind of like the bob kind of hairdo, the short blonde hair.
I do enjoy that.
Yeah, and so that was her. The director of this movie was in Heroes. I wonder if our boy Corando knows her.
Oh man!
Oh, he was only in the older he was in the stuff the flashbacks, right?
He was in season 2 when Hero went to Japan.
Was it all flashbacks? I'm trying to remember.
No, the Hero was like teleported, right?
Yeah. But Carando's character, that's what I was wondering, because I thought he was in like not flashback, I guess, like in a different timeline, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because Hero went back in time. And Hero season 1 was fucking great, and then they tried to flip out and tried to like franchise it. I didn't know what the fuck to do, and there was the writer's strike around that time. I don't know, it suffered. It got too ambitious. But the first season was great.
Well, as you know, people shouldn't get ambitious, right, Raven Shadow?
Why bother? Doesn't matter. Fuck it. Just smoke, dude. Drink your bucket. Drink, smoke, get divorced.
Just smoke, drink, and get divorced.
Seriously, man. Like at this point in time, if you're in a bad relationship, fucking end it.
End it?
Just quit, man.
The relationship or something else? What are you talking about?
Whatever you're gonna do, man. There's only so much left.
I got a better idea. Let's end this bullshit and get to the movie review.
That's a fair. That's
how about that?
How about that, Raven Shadow? You okay with that?
I think Aries is gone.
All right, so this film takes place in Arkansas in 1999. So we're another film set in Arkansas. We did the film Arkansas recently.
Oddly enough,
yeah.
Film.
So Angela Bettis, who is the star of this, and she is also probably best known by genre fans as the titular character in the film May, which I know a lot of. I think you really dug it, MZ, but I know Mars was repping hard for that. He's a huge fan of that film, and also Angela Bettis. So
I love May.
Oh yeah.
That's your favorite month, Raven Shadow?
No. But I like Diabetes.
Diabetes. So, but yeah, that's where most people probably might recognize her best. She's been in a lot of other stuff as well, TV and film, but and also other folks who you might recognize, David Arquette. You can't kill David Arquette, right? Right, Jay?
Yes. Which we should have done a double review, but this episode would be 8 hours.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes, I would just say, if you have not watched, you cannot kill David Arquette. You need to watch that documentary.
I watched it.
Yeah.
It's certifiably insane.
Yeah.
He is certifiably insane. There's no question about it.
And you kind of get the sense, I don't want to talk too much about his character, but you kind of get the sense that he played a similar character to what he sort of how he might be portrayed in that film as his wrestling gimmick.
Yeah.
Kind of a badass kind of character. But anyways, we also in the film have a brief cameo from Mick Foley, speaking of wrestling.
Yeah. Mick looked good.
Well, that's subjective.
Not really.
I thought he looked good. I thought he looked better in this than the last time I saw him on a WWE program.
No, he doesn't look too good at all.
Come on.
No.
But Mick.
And there's one scene where you see him walking a long distance, and he looks like he's having some really difficult time trying to walk.
Well, to be fair, he's always looked like he's had a difficult time walking.
Yeah, Mick wasn't in 98, let alone 2000, whatever the fuck.
2000, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I love that now encompasses 20 years, Raven Shadow.
It was true. I mean, like, but
it's
no,
very widespread.
I thought his beard looked good. I thought
his beard looked
really
good.
He had a good looking head going on. I thought he looked good.
Oh my god!
I was like, man.
How about
good.
How about his teeth? His teeth look good?
I thought his teeth did look good in this.
All right.
And his wardrobe looked great, huh?
Yeah.
He didn't have.
Look like he stole it from The Rock.
All right, so we got some cameos in this. We got some somewhat well-known stars. And Barry Grant is the writer and director, and so we get. This is kind of an interesting. It's almost like a day in the life of, right. It's Raven Shaw. I know you're a big fan of these movies. It takes place over the course of 12 hours, basically, right? Like a 12-hour, like literally a 12-hour shift. Angela Bettis's character Mandy is working a overnight double at the hospital, and right off the bat we get sort of there's already some intrigue because right away we get the sense that there is some shady dealings going on at this hospital because there is an exchange of human organs where Mandy is basically bringing out a kidney to give to her cousin. I'm using kind of finger quotes. And so already right off the bat, we're getting this sort of like weird sort of, narrative sort of into this story. And, and I think that Angela Bettis in this, I think she really played this character well. Like she had the tired nurse down. Like she just looks so disinterested in a lot, like not in the role, but I mean in terms of like just about her job, about like being a nurse and everything like that. So I thought that she like really portrayed the character especially well.
I would agree too. And I mean, I know of it. I didn't watch like Nurse Jackie, which had Edie Falco from The Sopranos. It was a Showtime show, but had a nurse that had like a certain pill popping and addictive personality, kind of vibe. I think it's also important to set the table. This film was set in 1999.
Yep.
If it wasn't New Year's Eve, it was around like Y2K, and I feel it had to have been on New Year's Eve because they made a point to say that the police wouldn't be around because they're dealing with like Y2K stuff. Am I right in that? Am I memory correct?
No, there was something else going on that the news report made reference to. I forget what it was, but they talked about something going on. It wasn't Y2K. Yeah, I actually thought this was set in 95.
No, they did mention Y2K. This is set in 99.
99? No.
Yeah. And the opening, when the movie starts, it says Arkansas 1999.
Oh, okay. I'm just remembering wrong.
But Aries is right. I mean, it's the combination. It's not that it's New Year's Eve and the police are too busy with Y2K. It's that they're like training for Y2K in case so they're like doing exercises. So it's just referencing that hey, we're coming to the next. It just is referencing Y2K because it's 1999, right? And again, that's a sort of a reference that would.
I mean, that was just more of just plot points, MacGuffins Just as to why the police weren't there in force when the shit was going down. That's all that was.
Yeah, it's just to make it so the cops 50,000 cops didn't show up at the hospital when people started, shit started hitting the fan. It's like, oh, they're away doing something, in this. And again, it kind of makes sense because it is I don't know how much spoilers we'll get into, but it's clearly a small hospital in a small town in Arkansas. So it's not like there couldn't be the thing of the police force, if there's 20 cops, they go off to the 2 towns over to do some training, right, for a weekend. And there's only, 5 cops on duty for that weekend. I mean, so, that's just a plot point, like Aries says, I think. Continue, Raven Shadow.
Thank you. So I guess I was into this. I like the vibe. I like the sleaziness. I like strung out, pill popping Angela Bettis very much. So they explain the cop thing. So I'll say one point of contention I had going into it was that even not that I've been to Arkansas or plan to go to Arkansas or would really or even know where Arkansas is. But I would think that that hospital was remarkably low staffed and low. It seemed like a Holiday Inn at 2 a.m. Like,
have you ever been to a hospital in a remote area in the middle of the night? I'm going to say no, because that is exactly what a hospital in a remote area in the middle of the night looks like.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Been to a hospital.
No, not maybe.
He says
I've
maybe.
been to a hospital in the middle of the night in a remote area. You can wander around that thing bleeding, and no one will say boo to you.
I've been to the hospital down the Cape near, what's the fucking rock that's important? The Plymouth one?
The rock that's important.
Okay, that is not a remote area.
Raven Shadow.
What? My bad, Jay? All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not so important anymore.
All right. All right. Well, I fucking whatever.
He just schooled
If you
you.
want to
Raven
look for a
Shadow.
remote area, Raven Shadow, if you want to look for a remote area, I suggest looking between your ears.
Okay, well then fine. Then yeah, hold between your legs. I guess that would be the.
Well, by all accounts, that's
I was
not.
going to say right in here.
Yeah,
Just look right.
Oh, and Corny, by the way, said she talking about Bria Grant in Heroes. He said she was in season 2 also. She was the speedster. So it's been a while since I've seen that show. So I actually forgot which character. I remember seeing her in it, but I just couldn't remember her character. So there you go, Raven Shadow. She was the speedster. All right, so we get there's a lot of sort of craziness going on, like in terms of like we get this shady sort of like organ deal going on. We have like someone who Mandy recognizes being brought into the hospital who had OD'd, and then we also have David Arquette's character who has like a security guard standing with him because he is going to prison or was in prison. I don't know if they officially said, but so there's a lot of different elements going on, and there's the different nurses, and then we have like sort of the woman who's at the desk who you can tell like they have something going on. Her and Mandy like have like a little kind of racket going on, and then you could already tell Mandy has a lot of shit going on because she's already been written up, like she's on probation, and she kind of like you can tell she's good at her job, like when she needs to snap into action, like when that woman was had fallen out of bed, like she had like a good bedside manner and she took care of her and everything, but she definitely does not like being here or does not want to be there, but she's good at her job. And
now I'm sorry, maybe I interpreted this wrong, but my interpretation was she was a new hire and her probationary period was the like 6 months or a year of a new hire. Did anyone else get that feeling?
caught that too, Aries. In fact, I thought she was actually kind of going undercover, like faking her role. But yeah,
It's interesting. I immediately thought when I heard probation, I just immediately thought that she'd been written up or something like that. You know?
Yeah, it was a punishment. That's how I took it as. Because I
hear that
for someone.
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say for someone who would, if you were to assume that she was brand new, she knows her way around the hospital pretty well.
Oh, no, I'm not saying necessarily brand new, but the fact that she's, 4 months into her 6-month probationary period, because especially at one point that she does screw up, and one of the other nurses say she's on probation, which has just been extended. Which if someone's under disciplinary action, if you screw up, you're gone.
Yeah, I mean, I got the, and again, I don't remember exactly. I got the impression that the probation is related to her drug addiction and.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
And so when she gets caught stealing the morphine or whatever she's stealing from the room, or whatever she's looking at in the room with that patient, and then the woman catches her, it's like because that's obviously like a real problem, but also it does address what you sort of mentioned, Aries, which is like in those small hospitals, you can't just get rid of people because there is nobody working there. And it's like you need her to be working the 12-hour shift because they don't just have money to throw to hire a bunch of people. So it's a weird thing because it's not fully explained out, but there is an element of, like, you would think if somebody got caught stealing drugs from a patient or stealing drugs from the medicine cabinet, they would just fire you. But maybe there's the implication is, oh, well, we'll put her on probation, and as long as she's okay, it was just a kind of one-time thing. Maybe she was trying to sell it to make money, because she didn't get paid a lot or something. I mean, again, there's a lot of speculation here, but that's always the couple. I've watched this film a couple of times, and I've always just got that like, she's clearly got an addiction, which we see throughout the film, and that's the probation is like, you're on thin ice. If we catch you in the medicine cabinet again, we're gonna. And again, there is a weird thing though of we caught you in the medicine cabinet again, but it's now just extended, right? So
I can see that, and I don't want to harp on this too long, but just one more thing that made me think of the new hire was her interaction at the beginning of the movie with the outgoing nurse. Nurse is leaving, she's coming in. They kind of know each other, type of thing, and it just seems like that it was more of because one of them was new.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it is a passing, your shift ending, my shift's beginning, but it just seemed like more of they just recognize faces because they're both smokers.
Yeah.
That was another with my thought process.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely it's vague, and they never do, which I think is ultimately the point, is they never do explain like what exactly is she on probation for. It's like, is it because it's just a new hire? Is it because of something else? Is it because she and I think that's, I would say in general, maybe to drift in another area or whatever, I think that to me one of the things that I really like about this movie is I think sometimes movies can explain too much. And I think when you have a kind of a film where, where there's like a lot going on in a very simple story, right? Because this is a very simple story. It's just like there's an inciting incident, and then it's just kind of the ratcheting up of the inciting incident all the way to the conclusion, and then the movie's over, right? It's not a complex film. But even in a simple film, sometimes screenwriters or people writing scripts or screenplays can get so involved in the detail that they sort of like, you're bogging the film down now with information instead of just moving, right? Instead of just going. And so I think that to me is a benefit to the film, where it's kind of like simple things like all we need to know is she's on probation. So she's sort of on thin ice. Okay. And again, that just serves a point later for another scene, right? She's on probation, so that makes a scene later important, right? We don't need to know much about David Arquette's character other than a couple of minor things, and that's it, right? We don't have to get into the details of what did he do and all the things, right? It's just like passing lines just to get him into the movie so he's there at the hospital, right? And including there's another patient who's passed out for most of the movie, or I think all the movie.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Who, you know, they give you just the bare essentials of information, and then additional information that you get from the Mandy character is sort of like, well, maybe that's true, maybe that's not true, that might be true, but this might be fake, we're not really sure, because that's a whole element of the movie too, right, where it's sort of, she's not the narrator of the film, but there's an unreliable narrator kind of element to her, of even when you mentioned about the bedside manner, it's like, is that really she has a good bedside manner, or is her bedside manner, is she able to shift in a way because, you know, she's manipulating people and she's trying to, you know, get people to do certain things. And so that, to me, even relating again to go back to that original element of why is she on probation, I think a benefit of this movie is the fact that, like, Brea Grant as the screenwriter really sort of just said, this isn't a complex movie. I'm not going to bog this down with a lot of detail and a lot of character development. I'm going to let the acting and kind of like the narrative ramp up of situations be the thing that is the movie, right? You know, and then I'm going to leave because it's 86 minutes long, right? You know, it's like, and then I'm going to be done. So
I'm glad, Aries, that you brought up that opening scene, because I totally forgot to neglect to mention it, but the sort of like the passing of shifts, I thought it was just kind of a great indication of who her character was, because she was like, you know, you could tell that she did not want to talk to this other woman, and, you know, and then at the end she's like, hey, fuck you, or whatever.
Oh yeah, and you know what? And it's, I 100% related to her in that opening scene, because that is the type of person I am. Like, if I'm, you know, when I was a smoker, I go out and have a cigarette. I just wanted to smoke. Leave me the fuck alone. If you're talking a mile a minute at me and then accuse me of just being quiet, you know what? Fuck you. Just leave me alone. Like, because of that, it's just like, yeah, I'm on board. I am her. And then as the movie progresses, it's like, yeah, no, I am not her. No, you know, it's just, it was a weird thing, you know, initial bonding, and then the rest of the movie is just separation from her. So it's just.
Well, I think in general, I think whether you smoke or not, I don't think that's entirely relevant. I think just dealing with a pain in the ass coworker is more than enough for you to I guess, for lack of a better term, sympathize with the Mandy character.
Well,
I feel that
the smoking aspect of it is because you're locked in. When you're out having a butt, you're locked in, because your options are to deal with it and finish your butt, or throw your butt away and walk and go back to work. So that's the dilemma with her in that situation.
Well, I think she handled it great. You know, as far as not only as far as the way she handled this situation, but just her character overall, I thought was fantastic.
And we have yet to mention the character of Regina, who let me just
Chloe Farnworth.
Thank you. Yes, played by Chloe Farnworth, and I thought, you know, obviously she's an integral character of this story as well, because she's sort of like the one who creates most of the problems for Mandy that are going on here in the film. But I thought that her role also was well portrayed, and I thought that she was an interesting written character. When she definitely, like, when she was on screen, you wanted to both like strangle her and like, but you wanted to see more what she was gonna do, because everything she did was fucking ridiculous.
She was chaos.
She was
fucking
the typical ditzy blonde that just messes everything up at every turn, you know. And but I mean, usually with rather entertaining results, not only entertaining in what happened, but also the reaction to those to her screw ups by Mandy, because her reactions to the shit that her cousin creates just cracked me up.
Yeah. No, I think I mean they're played well against each other, so I think it works. The two of them combined works really well together. And there's that scene where Regina asks Mandy how many kidneys she needs to live, and and then Mandy's like 1. She's like, how many was I born with? And then she says 2. And then Regina says, "That's not too bad."
She is so incredibly stupid. She's just so.
But the thing I like about that character too is she is kind of, and again, that's why I think it's interesting. Of like, if you create a couple of interesting characters and you put them in a situation and you get good actors to kind of just play it out, right? And again, if you're into genre stuff, it's like take it to extremes, right? This isn't serious. This is, a dark comedy or, a comedy. I don't know what you call this movie exactly. Again, I love it because it doesn't fit into a genre. Is it a comedy? Is it a dark comedy? But if you take those characters, so like her, she's the ditzy blonde, but there's also an element of like sociopathy in her. So it's an interesting mix to me where it's like it's not just a ditzy blonde, because there is the element of constant and Mandy saying she's stupid, you're dumb, you're so dumb, I can't believe how dumb you are. Again, she clearly asks like, how many kidneys do I have? How many do I need? So she says a lot and does a lot of dumb things, but also at the same time, and again, it might be just the way it's filmed, it might be the way it's written, it might be the way it played, it's probably a combination of all three. There's all of those elements where it's like when the shit really starts to hit the fan and kind of ramp up, there's a joyful attitude of like, let's just kill somebody. Let's just fucking, which is borderline sociopathic, right? So, and again, I'm not saying she's, like a sociopath or some, serial killer element, because obviously serial killers tend to be smart and intelligent and thoughtful. But that's what I think is so interesting, especially in contrast to like Mandy's very kind of like grounded, thoughtful, like she's very clear-headed and thinks things through. And it's only when she starts needing a fix that she starts to get a little aggressive and kind of like anxious and, she can't think and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I think is so interesting about Regina's character, is that it's a ditzy blonde with this extra element of, again, I don't know if it's sociopathy. I don't know if it's just, I'm trying to think it'd be not psychic, but like there's some psychotic. Thank you. Yeah. It's like the word was right there. So I think that's, and the thing I would say too is, which relates to the acting of that role, which I think she's really great in, and I don't know her from anything, Chloe Farnworth, but she's a British actress, which when I found that out, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
I had no idea.
What?
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, it's like when you find out Hugh Laurie in House is British, you're like, wait, what? Or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you go like, oh, I totally buy that this woman is this like trailer trash blonde Arkansas buffoon, but she's not, even though she is. I don't know,
you know what I mean? You kind of you danced around it. You didn't want to lock it in, but you know what? I'll say it. She is sociopath. I mean, that is. I mean, we kind of associate that term with serial killers and everything else, but you can be a sociopath and be functional.
Yeah,
right.
And up until this point, she was functional. She just had that disconnect, and as soon as the situation called for it, she just turned into a killer. She didn't understand the problem in that. It served her purpose, so it was the right thing to do.
Well,
there was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, it's. I mean, you can tell that she's kind of a problem solver. Like, she's trying to. and it just was logical to solve the problem by killing somebody. Like that was like, no big deal. Like, yes, like, that's what you do because I'm going to solve this problem, So it was really kind of interesting how it all sort of like, ramped up. And we're not necessarily giving anything away. It's maybe a slight spoiler, but not like, not a big spoiler.
And again, it is. I mean, I like what Ari said, because I think there is an element of, because she is like, I mean, again, just not understanding. It's like, oh, how do you get it? Oh, you do this. Oh, okay, I'm gonna go do that then.
Yeah.
And again, that's what. And I also, it's funny because I rewatched the film yesterday and I hadn't seen it in a couple of months. And the scene that really struck me in a weird way was early in the movie. So this is definitely not a spoiler because this is in the first 10 minutes. There's a scene where she's at like a Quickie Mart or something, and she meets a guy and she starts like hucking Cheetos at him.
Yeah.
And it's clearly indicated like she's sort of coming on to him, and like they're having this, like we're eating Cheetos and sucking on a Slurpee in a parking lot. And then the next it like cuts, and then she's like whipping Cheetos at him and like pushing him, and you're just like, this is not a normally rational ditzy blonde. This is a woman who like clearly in some way, shape, or form like is not connected to reality in the way that other people are, right?
Yeah.
Some of that is because of stupidity and ignorance, and some of it is because of, like, I think what Aries kind of said, as a sociopath, is like clearly because of a neurological fucking thing going on in her brain, right?
I mean, there are two key things that lock that in. One of them happens early on, and one is the last scene she's in. And one of them, when she finds out how they get the kidneys, she hears that how they get the kidneys, and then she goes about it in her way, which is 100% wrong, and not that getting the kidneys is correct, but like she just creates all the problems with how she goes about it. And you can just see that disconnect, like almost childlike.
Yeah.
And then that last scene, like I said, I don't want to speak on that too much because it's entertaining to experience that on your own. But it's unfortunate that scene speaks volumes as the character.
Yeah.
Like something that important to the character, like almost should have been earlier in the movie. Like that really just helps you understand the character.
Yeah.
In the last scene that character's in.
I mean, but it also kind of makes you wonder how the hell could somebody this brain dead, I guess you could say. I imagine being psychotic would have some small part in how you would obtain this kind of
not psychotic, sociopath
job.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Now, whatever.
No,
that's a very key point.
It's a big distinction. Yeah.
Okay, sociopath, whatever. What I'm trying to say is because of that, because of her idiocy and her constant knack of fucking things up the way she does, how she ends up in the black market organ business to begin with. I mean, something like that isn't really, working out of desperation. Those people are highly qualified, I guess to a certain degree, highly skilled, intelligent people who know how to thwart any authorities or skirmish past any laws or anything like that. So it kind of makes you wonder what the hell these black market organ business people were doing with a girl like this. I mean, she's obviously good. I mean, she's obviously the mule. She's obviously the one who's going to take the rap. But why would you, if anything goes down as far as the law is concerned? But how is it that they get her to do it? That's one thing I tried to figure out in my head. And this movie wasn't, big on fulfilling a lot of questions to be answered, kind of like with David Arquette's character and other areas where they don't need to be answered. And I suppose this doesn't need to be answered either. It's not integral to the plot, but it did kind of weigh in my mind, like how could
this was actually answered.
Hire a girl like that.
This actually was answered. This was a family business.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
I must have missed that part. Okay.
Yeah. And again, I think the thing which is great is in other movies that are about, like, I don't know, I guess, crime organization films that are, Goodfellas, right? Goodfellas gives you all the nooks and crannies of how the organization works, right? This isn't Goodfellas. This is like Jonesboro, Arkansas, redneck organ harvesting organization coming out of like Gary said, a rural hospital where some drug addict and a black nurse are getting people organs to give to other people. And it's like, the beauty of that, as Gary clearly said, is like there's family relations, and Mandy, I guess, recommended her cousin, if you need somebody to deliver the stuff to the warehouse,
And you know what? I mean, this could have been the third time they attempted this.
Yeah, well, again, they even say I had a huge argument with somebody, not an argument, but a very good discussion with a film critic I know, and somebody I respect quite a bit, who was very lukewarm on the film and was very caught up in the fact of why would, like, these organ harvesters, like, let this ditzy blonde woman, like, deliver these organs. And I was just like, in some ways I get it, but in some ways it's irrelevant. It's like, she's been working there a month. She's been delivering things okay, like you said, a couple of times, and then this time, because she's a fucking weirdo, and she can't relate to people on an actual real level. The chaos ensues, right? So and again, the thing I like is, and this is what I always say about movies in general, is I am willing to go along with anything in a movie when you set it up early in the movie that's what has to happen for the movie to happen. So I always say, like, I always use Face Off as the extreme example, where it's like, if you tell me at the beginning of a movie that you can take the face off of somebody else's face and put it on somebody else's face, okay. So if you tell me, like, this woman is delivering organs for this, Mick Foley and his cronies who are playing cards in a warehouse while a woman's getting her belly button pierced, or maybe
not even a woman, a child. That was a child
getting her belly button pierced. Or again, maybe she's not. I don't know. Maybe she's having an organ taken out. Who knows? I mean,
I just love that MZ sees that, and that is organized crime to him.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so not organized crime. That is
disorganized crime.
Yeah.
Disorganized crime.
Just because there's a chain of events happening there's no organization there.
Yeah, Ricky as the heavy, like, Ricky's not the greatest heavy in cinema.
With that rat tail.
With the long, like,
both fucking the rat tail. By the way, I'm doing that. I'm growing my hair out.
Yeah.
Because I already get the bald spot, now I'm going for the rat tail.
Ricky the rat tail.
Ricky's got it going on,
Yeah, Ricky the rat tail.
But I mean, if that was organized crime, she would not have left. Like that like, because it's not organized is why this fell apart like that. If this movie went another hour, they would all been busted and locked up.
Yeah, and again, I think, again, to me, it's just the thing of the movie will tell you what the world is, right? The movie will kind of present the world and the characters. And as long as you maintain a certain level of, I don't know what whether the phrase they use, as long as you continue to allow me to suspend my disbelief, right? The suspension of disbelief. So it's like, okay, I might, if I start thinking too hard about this, maybe things will start to fall apart. But this is, again, and I think it's why it's really important. This isn't a drama. This isn't a serious film. So therefore, you sort of give yourself over to to the escalation, the comedy of errors, if you will, whatever you want to, whatever. Again, this movie reminds me a lot, even though, there's clearly a difference in level, but it reminds me of like a Fargo or something like that, where it's just like inept, kidnappers, inept organ harvesters. They're trying to maintain some level of kind of like normalcy, but they're just not capable of being good criminals, right? Right? Like it's gonna come all crashing down at some fucking point. And this is like Gary said, the beginning of this is all crumbling underneath them, because you have a drug addict harvesting organs from a ditzy blonde sociopath, and it's like, yeah, okay. So
I wanted to read one quote from the film that I thought was kind of telling about, maybe some of the subtext about what the film is kind of what it's saying. But so in this, Mandy is talking to the dialysis patient, and he says, the sad thing about dying is the minutes really slow down. You forget to appreciate all those other minutes. Now all you got is the shitty ones.
Yeah.
Which I felt that was kind of kind of an important line in the film. And also, I don't know if Brea Grant was trying to say this, but this to me kind of spoke to the frustration of having a job that you don't like. I got the impression that she didn't love her job, even though I got the impression she was good at it. But right at the beginning, you can tell that opening scene where she tells the other nurse to fuck off. She's just not excited to be there. So I just got it's almost like we're counting down the minutes till we die. Some people who just are miserable. That's kind of the impression I got, and that's why that line kind of rang true to me when he said that. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to bring up. I know we're running a little long on the discussion here, but it was I think it was David Arquette's character when they think he's unconscious or sleeping, and then they say something, and he wakes up. He's like, "Give me some goddamn drugs."
Yeah.
I would like to bring up just one thing, if I can. I know,
please.
I want to. Because again, my whole thing with this movie is, and every time I've probably been on, I've probably said this about a movie, which is, one of the things I love is most movies I go into, I have no idea what they are. I literally have no idea. So this is another example of, I knew that Angela Bettis was in this movie, and I knew Brea Grant directed it, and it was going to play, I think, Tribeca, and I was like, oh, I'll watch that. Seems, okay. And so I had no idea it was an organ harvesting movie. I had no idea what happens. I didn't know it was a crime movie, right? And so the three things, again, I've sort of talked about, the script I really like, because I think, again, they give you enough information to allow the story to happen, and they don't get in the way, right? They don't give you too much exposition. I think the acting in this film is superb. I think Angela Bettis in this film, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of awards or people, I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't pay attention to that. But to me, the three main women in this film, again, Chloe Farnworth, I think her performance is great. I think Angela Bettis' performance is phenomenal, because again, there are moments in this movie constantly where you're like, she's shifting and you're not 100% sure whether she's telling the truth, whether she's putting on an act. I mean, I think most of the time you clearly go oh, she's acting here because she's trying to get something out of someone or trying to get out of something. So I think the acting in this film, and even with all the supporting characters, Kit Williamson as that guy in the lobby who keeps showing up is just a perfect little moment of just, and Tara Perry as the evangelical nurse who constantly comes in and out of the situations. So all the supporting acting, I think, is really great. I think the direction is really solid. I mean, to me, the ability to go from like this dark comedy to all of a sudden there's like a musical number in the middle of the movie, which is like seems wrong, but to me is like the perfect kind of I don't want to use the word anecdote, antidote to what's happening, but it's kind of like it shifts your it grounds you, or it kind of shifts your what you're thinking or what you're feeling. So there's all that kind of stuff, but also then the music. I think that's the last thing, is the music in this movie. I think is so spot on for a quirky, kind of weird, just kind of, again, sort of Coen-esque, Fargo-esque crime caper movie with the, I think the music, and I think Matt Glass, that music, is just so spot on that I think it deserves a little bit of mention, or just a little bit of sort of, because I've been meaning to look up his other stuff and seen if he's done anything, and I haven't, but I always think of that music. And when I rewatched the movie yesterday, I was like, this is a really good score for, again, remembering this is a small independent movie, right? This is not even though it's released by Magnolia, this is a small film, right? So those are the kind of things, I think the acting, the script, the directing, and the music, that's the kind of the four elements that all really work really well together, that kind of elevate the film as a simple crime, comedy of errors, escalating kind of thing into something that I think is worth watching, right? Is worth kind of seeing and engaging with. So I don't know what you think about any of that stuff. But
well, no, I think that's you bring up some good points. Some things I just kind of jotted down that I didn't get a chance to. But yeah, the score, I thought it seemed out of place, but somehow like added an unsettling feeling and actually elevated things a little bit, even though it was like jarring at times, because it's not what you would expect. And I actually dug that. I dug that it wasn't what I'd expect. And the other thing was that montage scene with, I guess, the kind of the musical scene that you had mentioned, like that also threw me, because what's happening on screen is not necessarily matching what's, the music or what's going on. And I actually like that juxtaposition. I thought that was a well done sort of like montage scene of like, the kidney bladder sort of thing. Like, I thought that was, it was jarring, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is so bizarre, but I actually really dug it. And then afterwards I was like, that was actually pretty brilliant to sort of make that connection. And that was
to me the musical number, just a part of the musical number, because again, when I rewatched it yesterday, it doesn't serve, I don't think, the same purpose, but it reminds me a lot of the musical scene in Magnolia, the Paul Thomas Anderson film, because it comes completely out of nowhere. It's like, this is not a film where people start singing, and even though people aren't all singing like they are in Magnolia. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Magnolia, but it starts with a character who starts singing in the church, then the chapel in the hospital, right? And then it continues where people are singing, or you're hearing the voices of people singing while you're sort of seeing these characters in various situations. And again, I don't think it serves the same purpose, because I think in Magnolia, there's a very clear purpose of what's happening in that scene. But when I watched it again, I was like, this is clearly like acknowledging to the audience that we're shifting here, right? We're making a shift, whether it's narratively or emotionally or whatever the word is. We're going to make a shift here a little bit, just for a moment, because of some stuff that's happening. And we need something to just not have a cut and go to the next scene, right? We have to have something here. And that happens twice, right? Because then the other scene is the dancing, I call him the dancing Lance Guest character from Halloween 2. The dancing ambulance guy, right? It's like he starts he's listening to his Walkman and he starts dancing for no reason. He's just dancing in the middle of the hallway. But again, it's that use of music to again sort of disorient you, to shift you, to kind of like make you feel uneven, right? So it's like you might be feeling one thing and the music's kind of like countering that by making you go, am I supposed to be laughing here? Is this supposed to be dark? Is this supposed to be ominous? Is this supposed to be, like, and I think that is a really, I don't want to use the word brilliant because that's an overused word, but I think it's it speaks very well to the overall direction of the film to be confident enough, and especially for an actor who's only directing her second feature, to be confident enough to do that. Whereas other directors, I think, would say, no, just tell the story. Just keep telling the story and just keep and going, no, I need this here, right? I need this moment for whatever reason. And again, I don't know what the answer is. Maybe there is no reason other than we just need to stop for a second, right? To settle. So that's why I think that's an interesting scene. And it reminds me of that Magnolia scene a lot because I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, Magnolia. And I think that speaks to something in her as a director. And it kind of excites me as a person who likes to watch a lot of movies to go like, that's exciting to think of what she might do next, right? Because if she has that, I don't know what the word is, sort of self-esteem as a director already,
I mean, I agree with you when you say you don't want to say brilliant, but I think that is very smart in what she was doing with that music, because it was very disconcerting when certain things popped up, but it was also very appropriate for what the scene was trying to portray. And like, it was very smart how that was done. And it was just goes along with the whole movie.
Yeah. And
I started.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that at first with the score, especially in the first quarter of the film, I wasn't completely on board with the music because I was like, the music just does not fit what's going on here. It took me a while for me to realize, well, maybe that's the director's intention to make it not so much uncomfortable, but maybe surreal in a way where you have, what you're seeing visually doesn't match up with what you're hearing, audio wise, as far as the score is concerned. And I think it's, it's once again, it's that both ends of the spectrum. Now they're not that far away, but still, when you put them two together, it almost still doesn't really match up. But maybe that's the beauty of it. It took me a little while to figure that out, but I think that's what it comes down to, is that it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. It's not supposed to sync together, despite the fact that they're apart. But
again, I think, the thing that we've obviously, all of us have seen a lot of movies, right? So we have we understand things almost intuitively because we've seen things. And the language of cinema, the oral nature of cinema, we understand that, as do most people who've seen lots of movies. And to think about that when, the thing that most movie music does is kind of like leads you along, right? It gives you all the emotional elements. It gives you all the emotional cores. And it does that throughout a film. And for a film to do that, to kind of like lead you, not necessarily emotionally, but just maybe tonally, right? It gives you a sense of like, this is a little jovial, this is sad, this is whatever, right? It gives you those emotional cues, the music. And then to use those cues opposite what you're maybe supposed to feel a certain way through is kind of like, it's again, I don't know. I like Aries' use of the word smart, but it's also like a risk, right? Because again, an audience usually like wants to be led through something, and when you start to challenge them, because now all of a sudden, if you're playing like happy music in a movie, but it's supposed to be dark and ominous, it's like, I'm confused, right? And most audiences, I'm confused. I don't know what to feel here because the music is telling me this is happy and jovial, but the thing that's happening in the movie is dark and ominous, right? Or the reverse, which I think happens a lot in this movie with that like choral, like you said. There's almost like a goblin-esque or a Argento-esque with the choral elements, right? That kind of stuff where it's like it's ominous and dark, but it's like what's happening is goofy. Like literally goofy is what is happening.
You know what I mean? Well, this didn't occur to me until we started really focusing in on the music. When you go to a hospital and you're sitting in the waiting room or waiting, for whatever, the music that is playing that you hear does not match your feelings when you're there. I mean, you're either there because you're injured or you're there because you're visiting someone who's injured. Yeah. And they're usually playing some upbeat pop music. So the music in a hospital doesn't match your tone to begin with. And probably at some level, they were trying to portray this in the movie.
Yeah, and again, that's where, again, I think as a smart director, as a smart leader of an artistic production, I think it was like getting, again, that particular music in that movie. It just added something that to me elevated the film in such a unique way, and especially at the very end, that end song, right when she's sitting in the end song that's playing, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's this end song playing, and it's very sort of like, it's like a folk song, but it's kind of like cryptic and dark, and you're like, is this a hippie song? Is this I mean, it might be something that I just don't know what it is, but you kind of go like, wow, this is really. The word I like to use is, and I think we might have said this with another film I was on for. There's a self-assuredness as a director, which I really love about this movie, which is kind of like, I'm making a small budget independent movie with a handful of actors in a hospital over the course of 12 hours, and this is what the movie is. And I'm not going to try to make it anything else other than that. And to me, I have a lot of, I don't know, I have a lot of respect for that, because I do think it is smart to kind of, as an artist, say, this is what I wrote, this is what I'm making, and I hired these people to do it. And the beauty, I think, is she hired actors, especially Angela Bettis and Chloe Farnworth and Nakia Gamby-Smith, to kind of do that, right? To kind of to play those roles and say, this is who they are, and that's it. And oh, by the way, here's David Arquette and Mick Foley, and
yeah.
And Mick Foley apparently is in the movie because of David Arquette, because he was one of the producers of his wife produced the film, David Arquette's wife, and David Arquette produced it as well. And so a lot of their producing was Bria Grant saying, "Hey, can you get me Mick Foley?" And they were like, "Yeah, I guess."
What's he doing?
Yeah, I mean, well, again, he's got I think that's what you get a producer like David Arquette on your movie for, is like, he's got connections, he can talk to people.
Yeah, because you know what? When I think of black market organ transplants, I think Mick Foley.
Yeah. I mean, he's great in that. He's got one scene, and it's great, right? I mean, he's very. I mean, well, it's a good scene, and he's not terrible in it. So
he serves his purpose.
Yeah. He does his thing. So, and again, it elevates a small movie where, if there are Mick Foley fans out there, they might go, "Oh, Mick Foley's in a movie. He's going to tweet about it, right? Get you a few more hits, get you a few more sales on your movie." It's kind of brilliant. So remember that when you make the Deadites movie. You got to put.
We got to get Mick Foley in it.
Well, somebody of a name, right?
And the last thing I want to talk about before we head to the verdict on this one is that scene. So I think it took place right after the musical montage, when the scene in the morgue with the cop was like so awkward, but I thought it was really funny and pretty well executed. All right,
agreed.
So why don't we head to the verdict on this film, and we'll find out what everyone has to say.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, and in the words of the immortal Busta Rhymes, trick or treat, motherfucker. We're going to give this one a verdict, so let's go around and find out what everyone thought, starting with Michael Ravenshadow.
It's a good enough treat.
That's it?
Yeah, no, man. I peaked already. I had stuff early on, but yeah, I mean.
Did you watch the movie?
Yeah, I did, man. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's a treat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many times I tried to jump into a conversation.
How can you question that? You know?
Because it was the constantly like being talked over. Like, so yeah, it's a good enough treat.
Who talked over you?
Everybody. Everybody in the roster. I think you played the tape when Monster Zero jumped in. I had my hand raised and I yelled "motherfucker." There's a point in the conversation where you probably I say "motherfucker."
I don't look to see if your hand is raised, dude.
Let's hear some stuff then. Let's hear some.
I normally look, but I was dealing with something, so I apologize, Ravenshadow, if you were raising your hand and I didn't notice.
And tried to jump in and be like, yeah, cut off. And it's a great conversation. Everyone was very great.
You know what? You just say, well, go fuck myself, or you go fuck yourself. That's what you say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Next week I'm coming out with fucking like snickety snooge, like Wolverine. But
snickety splooge?
Splooge, yeah. It's a good treat.
I
feel bad now. I don't.
Yeah, you made Jay feel bad.
That's just, I know what'll cheer him up.
The one. The big
there it is. There it is.
I like that.
Don't be so blue, Mr. Ravenshadow.
I am a little bit
Tell
around.
us what you thought of the movie.
The fact that you have that there makes me want to go to North Kakalaki.
You get your own bear when you enter the.
I fucked that bear.
Yeah. I mean, it's a girl bear, right?
Oh Jesus!
No, it's a guy bear.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But he's a giver.
All right, well, let's go to MZ.
Well, yeah, I agree with Professor J in the regard about the bravery of this movie making, and the fact that she wanted to make it her way, and with all its little quirks and differences and other areas where we would, where anybody else would find to be normal. This is a quirky little flick. I think Angela Bettis was fantastic in this. I mean, not only in terms of in dialogue, but also in terms of appearance. I think her physical appearance really lends the character a lot of credence. She's very, very gaunt, very skinny, very thin, and I think that because they made her character like some sort, like a drug addict, I think her physical appearance kind of lends itself to that quite well. She's very entertaining to listen to and watch. Her facial expressions are dynamite. I just love them.
who's the Chloe? What's her name? Regina. Regina, I thought was really, really good too. Great performance, ditzy, stupid, and maybe just a little crazy, but not completely over the top in that regard. The music was pretty good. It kind of set me straight, and you guys helped me out with that. So yeah, I kind of agree with the whole idea on the music. For 87 minutes, they pack a lot of stuff into this movie.
Yeah,
they really do. There is scant amounts of boredom in this movie. There is stuff going on all the time. So it's for the most part it's an exciting watch too. Very well paced. They cut out pretty much all the fat in this movie. There's really nothing that's left that you could cut out in this movie. It's perfect. And it also has one of the more entertaining nude scenes I've ever seen in the past maybe 20 years. It's so funny. It's so funny and so great.
That's you talking about the morgue scene?
It belongs. No.
No. We know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to give that away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful, and so yeah, this is a big treat. I really did enjoy this. This is definitely a treat.
All right, let's hear from Aries.
All right, for a change, I mostly agree with MZ. This is really kind of weird. No, I did enjoy this movie a great deal. I thought it was very well acted. A lot of the fat was cut out with this movie, where unnecessary character development was just kind of left to the viewer's imagination. And as we discussed earlier on, like, there are a lot of things that left to be interpreted, and that's the beauty of this, where it's like, no one's right, no one's wrong. We debated as to different things about these characters, and you know what? Everyone was right. This movie is just fun to talk about. Watch this movie and talk about it with your friends. This is an enjoyable movie to watch. My one major problem with this movie is David Arquette. I did not buy him at all in this movie. Did not like his character. I felt his character was kind of like written in, like, oh, we can have David Arquette. Let's quickly write a character and throw it in. That's what I felt like his character was, and didn't buy that. His portrayal of the character and the character itself, I felt, was a little unnecessary, and that's why I felt that was shoehorned in. Everyone else was brilliant in this movie, and although I didn't like him, he's acceptable in this movie because it is such a good movie. So check this movie out. It is a treat.
All right. Professor J?
Yeah, I mean, I there's not much more I think I could say. I think it's a definite treat. I will just say, when I use the word brave when it comes to cinema, obviously I understand we're talking about movies here. We're not talking about people who are entering burning buildings to save young children.
Yeah.
So, but I do think, when you are an artist and you're trying to make commercially viable works of art, when you take some kind of like risks, there is an element of bravery there. So, but yeah, I think this is a definite treat. I think, I think the acting is superb. I think the writing is solid. I think the direction is very, very good. And I think the music is great. And I think it all just works together to reiterate everything people have said, that, it's a crisp 86, 87 minutes. It moves. It again, there's not a lot of time where you're sitting there saying, like, can something happen? Even though really not a lot happens, right? I mean, it is just that escalation. So definite treat for me. And I can't wait to. I'm not a huge. I haven't known a ton of stuff that Brea Grant has done, especially as an actor. Seen her in some things. I never saw her first feature, but I'm really interested to go back and look at that now.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested in. She has a film coming out that she wrote called Lucky,
Yep.
That she stars in, coming out soon, I think in Shudder, early 2021. It's playing festivals now, and I'm really just looking forward to seeing what she's got next. She also has a graphic novel, I guess, that she wrote, which I'm not really into graphic novels, but as a writer, I'm really interested in her storytelling and the stories she's interested in telling. So that just came out. So definite treat. I think people should check it out. Again, it's a fun film. I think a fun, gory film.
And for me, also treat. So treats all around. I did enjoy this, and I thought it was a fun ride. I do enjoy films that give you sort of a night in the life of every now and then. And this really kind of like ramps up the insanity as it goes. It gets crazier and crazier and crazier, and until like things are happening that you just can't. Like normally, if someone told you this, you would just be like, "Nah, that's not that can't happen." But like Jay said, they set up the world like perfectly because everything that happened here and everything these characters did was believable in the world that they set up. And that's really all I want in a movie. Like, you can do crazy things that couldn't happen in real life as long as you set the rules properly in your world and it makes sense. Totally on board. So, there is some crazy stuff that happens, and I think it's a really well acted movie, like you guys have already said. I agree. I think Angela Bettis and also Chloe Farnworth were both really good in this. And overall, yeah, I'm excited to see what else Burr Grant is going to do as a director. And, I think I will say I want to temper my, my excitement. It's a really interesting, great, really well done movie. I think I had maybe some pacing issues with it. But overall, like I think it was MZ or one of you guys said there's not much fat, like 87 minutes, a lot happens. But I think that there was a couple scenes that were really jarring to me, and maybe that's because it subverted my expectations, so that could be certainly a reason as to why they were jarring. But other than that, no, I really dug it, and I thought great performances. So, well, that's it for 12-Hour Shift. If you guys want to check it out, it's available on VOD. So give it a look. All right, next week, I'm a little torn. I got a horror movie, a period horror movie, and an action movie. Raven Shadow.
Seeing as how it's Halloween.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I was maybe going to hold on to the action movie.
Stick with
later.
horror.
All right.
Stick with horror.
All right. So MZ made the call, so we'll go with it. So next week we're going to be doing the film is The Curse of Audrey Earnshaw, and I believe it comes out tomorrow. Let me just double check. So it hits VOD. No, it actually just came out on VOD 2 days ago, so it's already out on VOD, and that is The Curse of Audrey Earnshaw, and I believe, was this an IFC Midnight? I don't recall, actually. I don't have the information.
You're not going to do Hubie Halloween?
No. Although, MZ, apparently some of our friends that we used to work with at Spooky World are in Hubie Halloween. Did you see that?
Oh, no, I didn't see that. I've been told about it, but
yeah, our buddy Bruce that we used to work with is in it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. No, now because I remember some of the people were telling me or telling us that they were involved in an Adam Sandler produced movie, and this must be it.
Yep. Yeah, he filmed it. I think it was mostly filmed in Salem, Mass. So I know.
Yeah.
Some other people were extras and stuff like that. So, but yes, we're not doing Hubie Halloween.
Hubie Halloween. Fucking up. Happy Madison joint. Come on.
We're doing The Curse of Audrey Earnshaw. Earnshaw, not Shaw.
All right.
So check that out. If you guys want to play along at home, we'll be doing that next week. All right, so we got we're running a little late here, but we got one voice message, so let me jump in. Jay, do you need to head out, or do you want to check out the voice message? What do you want to do?
What do I gotta fucking do? I don't know.
Did you
mean, I can leave if you want me to leave.
No, of course not.
Fuck right off.
No.
I got this bear. Got this panda bear.
All right, well, let's hear the voice message then. It is from our buddy First Time Mike.
What's up, Trick or Treat family? This is First Time Mike. Hope all is well with you, everybody. Long time no talk. Been busy with work going on. There's I was on vacation. There's some local craziness in my neck of the woods in Wisconsin, so it's been keeping me busy. But I just wanted to record this little missive for you tonight. Got some Halloween ideas for everybody, some recommendations, if it were. For a movie, I just noticed that one of my guilty pleasure movies is on Shudder for Halloween. It's called the WNUF Halloween Special.
Oh, yeah.
Now, quick history lesson. Back in the day, before there was cable everything, there's this little thing that used to be called local television. And before the days of heavy cable, pretty much what I had in Milwaukee, and let's say you guys had in Massachusetts or wherever you're from, that's totally different because local television ruled the day. Local commercials, and the UHF stations, there was a lot more local TV, a lot of reruns, some original syndicated shows. But this movie delves back into the day of the ill-fated special with the last appearance of reporter Frank Stewart investigating the Spirit Board murders. The best part, it takes a little bite at the Warrens from the Conjuring films, but the best part of this movie is it is done so much like local television from the 80s. There's the cheesy beginning newscast, but the best part is that there's a ton of retro commercials that if you blinked or if you didn't realize that you're watching this on Shudder, available right now, that you'd be watching. That's the way commercials were back in the day in the 80s. By that time, I was in high school, and I just would have eaten this stuff up alive. The WNUF Halloween Special, check it out. It's on Shudder right now. Hopefully, they'll keep it to the end of the year, but they might just keep it for Halloween, so check it out. On the podcast front, I stumbled onto a audio drama called The Old Gods of Appalachia. And it's a very Lovecraftian, cosmic horror type podcast that explores tales of an alternate Appalachian mountains where mining and other things up in the mountains awaken old horrors, and it takes legends from the mountains and wraps them up in a lot of it's true, but names are changed, things are a little bit differently, but it's a solid, good, creepy listen to. Some parts of it are a slow burn, but when it gets going, there's some terrifying imagery and sound. And I went through the first season of it pretty much in 2 days at work, and it's a great podcast. I'll put a link in the fib on Friday. It's The Old Gods of Appalachia. It's available on all your different podcast streamers. Finally, I'd like to recommend a vanguard of the monster hosts, creature features from the San Francisco. In 2016, a new guy took over, Vincent Van Dahl, who is a retired rock star who gets a mansion and watches all sorts of old and crazy science fiction, horror, fantasy movies with the tall, noble Mr. Livingston, his butler, and the lovely Tangela, who's just gorgeous but doesn't say a word, and who is just deliciously creepy. I have the app, the Creature Features app on Roku, and they have a YouTube channel on YouTube, of course. Creature Features, check it out. They have a lot of fun movies. They interview a lot of actors. They've had a couple like the kids of like Victoria Price, Vincent Price's daughter. I think they did one of Boris Karloff's grandkids on there. A lot of good guests. Some solid B movie fare. It's a great watch. I recommend it. Creature features on YouTube, or if you have Roku, a Creature Features app gets you a lot of just like 40, 50 episodes on there. So that'll keep you busy on a night where you just want to have some fun, cheesy horror goodness. Well, I'm running a little bit long, so this is first time Mike wishing you all the best and happy Halloween. I will have more next week.
Great voice message, first time Mike, and some interesting stuff. You know what? I've never seen the WNUF Halloween special, and I've heard a lot of stuff about it. Have you ever seen it, MZ, or has anyone seen it?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's Jay?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's it might be the kind of thing. The thing about that, and I am never the person to make the statement I'm about to make. It might be the kind of thing that now it's so well known it loses some of its the experience of discovering, because part of what it is I guess it's not Blair Witch, because it's not a comedy. I mean, it's not a horror film. It's not but it sort of lives in this very nostalgic kind of thing. And so what you're watching is this, it's so nostalgic that it's kind of like, oh, what is this? And it's so specific. And again, it's hard. It's very hard to describe. It's not something where it's like, oh, that's a great movie, or so I wonder, because it's probably, I mean, that thing's got to be 10 years old now. I mean, easily, or close to. And I wonder, the more it's like anything, right? The more that people talk something up, the expectation, you go in and you kind of lose a little something. But it's very specific. And I think if you can buy into the specificity of it and what it's doing, it is a very fun, interesting thing to engage with a group of people, especially, I think, as it was a first time Mike said there, if you have an understanding of old school VHF or UHF kind of TV and news, local broadcasts and reporters who go on the scene for, events and, all that kind. I call it the Shelby Scott thing. Oh, there's a storm. Look, Shelby Scott's out on the Cape getting pounded by a nor'easter,
Yeah.
So it again, I don't know. Maybe it might be the kind of thing of it. Maybe it doesn't quite work anymore. But who knows? I definitely enjoyed it. I remember when I saw it many, many years ago. And I enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I've been curious to check it out. I know my buddy Coop has been singing its praises for a while. I think he even owns it on VHS, which is kind of funny. But it's on. I didn't actually know it was on Shudder, so I appreciate the tip. First time, Mike. I'm gonna check it out. Raven Shadow, of the 31 films, which have you watched so far this Halloween season?
Cobra Kai.
Come on. Did you finish season 2?
Yeah, all I want to watch is Cobra Kai.
You're just gonna watch it on a loop until the 3rd season comes out?
All I'm gonna do. No, I've been doing it on radio style. I watched parts of Spookers, because Mary's been watching it, so I watched Spookers.
Yep.
The pot, then it got really sad, and that wasn't. I watched Friend Zone the first 30 minutes, and I took a nap.
Friend Zone?
Friend Request?
Oh, Friend Request.
Oh, did you get friend zoned?
No, this episode, yeah.
It's his own living horror movie.
Oh, man.
I caught the denouement of Creep 2.
Oh.
With
the full frontal?
No, I didn't see any of it. No, I came down. There was a shower scene. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I didn't see nothing. But Marion's been doing really good, so I've been watching it with her when she's been over. I still have no idea what Monster Zero is talking about. We had no issue with fucking Dogtooth.
Well,
I don't know if
he is the dog-faced gremlin, so.
Yeah, like I was watching. So that I really quite enjoyed, even with the weird flop attic type fucking vibe and weirdness going on with that. And I know a lot of folks are leaving content, but seriously, EF Contentment, not mention anybody else, but his reviews have been great.
Oh yeah, for sure. And go ahead.
No, cut me off again.
No.
I will say though, I finally watched Maniac Cop.
Oh, nice.
And I one time I saw the sequels, but I had never seen it in the original form. And how fucking topical is that picture?
Yeah.
What's going on nowadays?
I haven't seen it in a really long time. I was hoping to watch it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it on the day that MZ had it.
What about Cop Out? Is that a topical picture these days?
Oh, you mean the Kevin Smith, Bruce Willis?
You just could. I guess I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, Cop Out was Bruce Willis and who was the guy?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Cop Land.
No, Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan.
Well, it had the Beastie Boys intro. It was good.
I actually almost forgot to. Oh, Kevin Smith directed that?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
How did I not know that?
Yeah.
That was during the dark days, right?
Well, that was the one he didn't write. He just directed it, and he just talks shit about it anytime it comes up.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, I actually forgot to. I almost forgot to. My boy Baka Chewy, an old buddy of mine, has been listening to the show, and he's been pretty active in the Discord. And he said he watched 12-Hour Shift, and so I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, if you have some thoughts, leave your thoughts." And he wrote them down in a fucking PDF. So if he took the time to make a PDF, I got to read it, right? So this is from Baka Chewy. He says, "Here's my too long but spoiler-free review of 12-Hour Shift." 12-Hour Shift is a mostly well-made, if unbalanced film that doesn't quite seem to know what it wants to be. It's arguably less of a horror film and more of a black comedy meets a heist caper with a dusting of gore and violence for the kids. The casting and performances were a bit uneven. Angela Bettis does a compelling job starring as Mandy, an amoral, grouchy nurse who doesn't feel two-dimensional, despite the film being a relatively short slice of life. However, some of the supporting cast comes across as cartoonish characters of archetypes. Although it may be intentional, the writing seemed to purposefully portray the characters as over-the-top buffoons. The story moves along at a good clip, and I never felt bored. When the action and dialogue involves Mandy, it's tight, compelling, and well done. At other times, supporting characters such as David Arquette's role as inmate Jefferson or Mandy's friend and illicit business partner Regina have to carry a scene, and the movie feels a bit adrift and untethered. While the plot isn't quite as on-your-edge tense as you'd hope, it's serviceable and not super predictable. I couldn't foresee how things were going to progress on a minute-to-minute basis, and there are a few fun curveballs thrown in. Highlights for me in 12-Hour Shift start with lead actress Angela Bettis as Mandy. She did a great job portraying a curmudgeonly, exhausted nurse anti-hero who's caught up in everything is going wrong all at once caper. Despite the fact that Mandy is in a mess partially of her own making, I still found myself rooting for her. Grant's directing and the cinematography and editing were all rather good for a low to mid-budget film. Special kudos go out to the score and soundtrack. The original score, which is mostly just a drummer, is really well done. It's like a much better, far less annoying version of the soundtrack to Michael Keaton's Birdman. It's also worth mentioning a female writer-director and female lead give this film an interesting and underrepresented voice that visits some familiar tropes from a female perspective. That alone keeps the picture feeling fresh. Foremost among the lowlights is the underdeveloped script and plot. Perhaps with better writing, 12-Hour Shift could have been a very dark, very funny black comedy. As it is, it doesn't really excel at being dark or funny. It's not dark, but it doesn't get especially cringy or tense. Likewise, it's not funny. There are a few chuckles in there, and it's populated with goofy characters, but I found them to be more amusing than funny. I'd also add that some of the supporting characters felt unnecessary or underdeveloped. For example, Inmate Jefferson was something more than a cameo for David Arquette, but less than a full supporting role. I ended up feeling that his presence was distracting. I especially found that some of the underworld antagonists came across as downright clumsy, unbelievable stereotypes. Don't get me wrong, the writing isn't bad. It's just frustrating because I don't think it quite lived up to what it might have been. Another edit or two and an outside voice might have helped firm up the writing. All that said, the leading actress did a lot with the material she was handed, and the directing was solid enough for me to call this a treat. I'd look forward to more films from the principals here, but I hope that the writing is a little tighter next time. Awesome. Some great thoughts there. So we appreciate you putting those in a PDF form for me. That's the first for the show. So I appreciate that. Very classy. So I appreciate you giving us your thoughts, Bakachui. And MZ really appreciates it as he yawns into the fucking mic. Nice work.
Thank you.
I like how you consider PDFs classy.
Well,
have you never been paying attention to this show at all?
The fact that it was like an attachment, I guess, was nice. Although,
oh no, I'm not. I'm not being critical. I'm just
not that.
I think you are. You are being critical.
I am being a little critical. It is true.
Not that we expect PDFs every time.
PDF might be classy for like 1998, maybe. Ooh, a PDF. It's like a picture of a document that was made on a computer.
Raven Shadow, do you know what a PDF is?
Oh Jesus!
What does PDF stand for?
You're still cutting me off after I speak. A portable digital file.
Wow.
Jesus
I thought you were going to give us some bullshit.
Digital? Is that right? Document.
Portable document file?
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know what
Raven
it is.
Shadow, I'm going to give you credit. You're not right, but I'm going to give you credit.
He gets credit regardless.
It's portable document format.
Format. See, so there yeah.
But I'm giving you a full point.
Yeah, we'll give him a full point. He gets a full point on MZ's 31 Days of Horror. He gets a full credit for Creep 2.
Yeah.
Even though he only saw the end.
You get full frontal credit.
Denouement.
All right, well, my iPad's about to die, so we're going to lose the show if I don't end it now. So we got to wrap things up here. But Professor J, as always, we appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us. It's a pleasure, man. We got to do it again sometime soon.
Always a treat, gentlemen. Love it. And, maybe someday in person again. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
At least it's not always a trick, like you said. You said it's always a treat. I said, thankfully you didn't say always a trick. It's always a treat for you to come on and join us.
It is always a treat.
I just want to know what gentleman he's talking about.
Yeah.
Well, it's, I'm using its term very loosely. I mean, it's, it's late. I'm a little drunk.
Yeah, Raven Shadow.
Amen.
Raven Shadow, maybe you and Professor J can continue with the blackout tapes after this.
I'll bring the panda bear, Raven Shadow.
I'll bring the beer.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Going on?
I got my Fat Boy Baltic Porter. I got, come on. I got a panda bear right here. No problem.
It's a nice one. Wait.
I got one drumstick
Raven
around here somewhere.
He's gonna run and grab something.
Oh, Raven Shadow's gonna get something.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Hopefully my iPad dies right before it goes back.
Yeah, no, it'll be perfect. I'm gonna keep.
All right. Well,
just as he starts coming into frame,
let's start saying our goodbyes, starting with MZ.
Oh.
Yeah, arrivederci, douchebags.
Well, what do you got there, Raven Shadow? I could tell. That's why.
Left behind, but it's Totoro backpack. And look at this.
What the fuck is that?
The mouth opens.
Oh. Now it makes perfect sense.
With the backpack.
I can't even tell what it is.
Raven Shadow. next time you travel, you need to roll up with that and your Boba Fett luggage.
And someone's going to ask where your chaperone is.
Yeah. Wait, is it called? Yeah. Is that my backpack Totoro?
It's my backpack Totoro. Boy 3.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a good way to end it right there. So, Aries?
Goodbye.
Professor J, do you have any parting words?
Register to vote.
That is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Don't vote for the asshole.
Oh my God, we didn't mention the fucking fly.
Come on.
Oh, God.
No.
And he's like, please don't extend this. All right. Everyone knows about the fly.
He's
That's
like,
fine.
my nipples are getting chafed from this hoodie.
All right, Raven Shadow.
That's love hard. Fucking vote. Get this fucking cocksucker out of office. What'd I say?
You said it all.
Yeah,
Dude, Raven Shadow.
I'm gonna fuck that panda.
Wow.
My address.
All right. Well, I actually wanted to mention this at the top of the show, and I just there was so much going on. I get a chance to, but I'm not one who is like gets all bummed out by celebrity deaths. It sucks when you lose celebrities, but for me, a big one we lost just a couple days ago, and that's Eddie Van Halen. Maybe people who listen to the show don't know how big of a fan I am, but I started playing guitar because of Eddie Van Halen. My first favorite band, my first concert ever, and it's a big loss. I don't really get like choked up when maybe David Bowie and then Eddie Prince. Van Halen. Well, I mean, I love Prince, but it didn't impact me as much as Eddie Van Halen. So for me, this is a tough one, and I'm appreciative of what he left for us and all the amazing music and just the way he redefined an instrument. He is one of the most, whether you're a fan or not, he's one of the most influential musicians in the history of our world, which, that's saying something. So rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. R.I.P. EVH. And, well, that is going to do it. So appreciate everyone tuning in for the live show, everyone who hung out. And first time Mike for sending that awesome voice message. And everyone's going to check out the podcast. And especially a big thanks to the Panda Bear and Professor J for hanging out with us all night. It's always a pleasure. And we'll definitely do it again sometime soon. So next week, The Curse of Audrey Earnshaw. Come back, hang out with us then. We'll see you later.
Hey!